Get in pole position for cheaper van insurance with mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. See what you could save and compare your van insurance today with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge day of league football across Scotland. Rangers have the chance to go 5 points clear at the top when they take on Hearts ahead of Celtic's trip to Motherwell tomorrow. Old foes Derek McInnes and Neil Warnock reunite as Kilmarnock host Aberdeen. There's a battle of the Saints in Paisley with Hibs Dundee and Ross County Livy making up the top flight card in the company of Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
If you don't like the heat, stay well away from the kitchen this weekend. The Oven and Govan, otherwise known as Ibrox, will be red hot this afternoon for the visit of Hearts. They haven't won there for 4 years, but over the course of those 4 years, they haven't gone there with a team on a winning run like this one, and they haven't gone there with a striker as electrifying as Lawrence Shankland. However, if Rangers win, they open up a 5-point gap on Celtic, and that puts Brendan Rodgers' side under tremendous pressure. High noon, Motherwell tomorrow. But they've got £67 million in the bank, and apparently that's where it's staying. Let's do this, Bradley.
What a fixture list we've got today, Gordon, and no doubt about it, the game of the day, Rangers versus Hearts, the two informed teams in the league, when Rangers with a chance to go 5 points clear. But you look at the opposite end of the table as well. Ross County v Livingston, a chance for Ross County to put some daylight between them, and then even mid-table Dundee with the opportunity to stretch their lead over Hibs in top 6 place. Is all going off across the league.
Yeah, I agree with the lads. I think we've got a terrific afternoon of football ahead of us. Plenty of excitement. Very, very important games as well. Obviously Motherwell Celtic tomorrow, that'll take care of itself. But I think the lads round about the grounds today are going to get plenty of excitement and plenty of goals.
Yeah, it's that time of the season, Hugh. We do this every year to an extent, but it's not often been quite as dramatic as this, where you look at who plays first, what do they do, what impact does that have on the other side at the top. We're back to that sort of territory, and that's very much in full flow this weekend.
Well, where Celtic are concerned, a 5-point lead would be a serious concern for Brendan Rodgers and his, at the moment, not functioning terribly well team. And I think the announcement yesterday of the mid-season accounts with £67 million in Celtic's bank has only upset the Celtic supporters, and they're not buying the chairman's notion that they couldn't find anybody to buy in January other than Nicholas Kuhn from Rapid Vienna for £3 million and a loanee from Norwich City. So the Rangers fans at Ibrox today know the value of a home win, particularly against seriously on-form Hearts. If Rangers go 5 clear, Celtic under all sorts of pressure tomorrow, and they dare not drop any points in North Lanarkshire.
But it's not just about the top of the table. Huge games all across the Premiership and beyond. Let's start at Ibrox for Rangers against Hearts. Gabriel has the teams.
Thanks, Gordon. What a turnaround it's been here at an expectant but excited Ibrox this afternoon. Philippe Clement's side with the chance to move 5 points clear at the top of the league. Nearly unthinkable when he arrived 7 points behind Celtic back in October. They are bang in form. They've won 9 in a row, all of their matches this year. The Belgian makes 4 changes to the side that won up at St Johnstone last weekend. Ridvan Yilmaz, Sterling, Lawrence and Dessers all come in Todd Cantwell is out for up to 4 weeks with an injury picked up last week. He misses out along with Barisic, Wright and Silva. So the team is as follows. It's Jack Butland in goal, a defence of James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter and Ridvan Yilmaz. Be a midfield two of John Lundstrom and Mohamed Diamande. Tom Lawrence will be just in front of them. Dujon Sterling and Oscar Cortez on the wing. Cyril Dessers leads the line. The substitutes today: McCrory, Silva, Wright, Davies, Balogun, Raskin, McCausland, and there's a place for Kemar Roof. He makes the matchday squad for the first time since before Christmas. What about the visitors? Well, Hearts are the only team who can argue they've been playing as well as Rangers in 2024. Some Jambos would say even better. They've won 8 in a row. Unbelievable form from Stephen Naismith's men. They've almost got third wrapped up already just in February. They are 15 points clear of 4th place. They've only lost 4 games since October, Gordon, but 3 of them have been against Rangers. You have to say, though, they've been really impressive against the Old Firm All campaign, running them close. They, of course, won at Celtic Park back in December. Naismith said yesterday the mentality here has changed in the big games. Well, he makes 3 changes to the team that beat Motherwell 2-0 last weekend. Atkinson, Grant and Vargas all come in. Fraser, Forrest and Lembikisa all drop to the bench. It'll be the 3-5-2 formation we've seen for most of the campaign. Xander Clark in goal, a defence of Frankie Kent, Kai Rolls and Stephen Kingsley. Nathaniel Atkinson and Alex Cochrane will be the wing-backs, with Cal Neuenhoff, George Grant and Benny Beningame in the middle of the park. Kenneth Vargas partners Lawrence Shankland up top. Of course, touted for an Ibrox move all of January. He's got 23 goals in all competitions so far this season. Could he come back to bite Rangers today? The substitutes for the visitors: Gordon, Devlin, Forrest, Simic, Denham, Tate, Fraser, Tagawa and Lembikisa. The referee will be Nick Walsh and the VAR, Don Robertson.
All set then with the team lines from Ibrox. Gordon, what jumps out at you from that Rangers team?
Well, obviously the bad news for Rangers with Cantwell out for a few weeks or whatever it may be, Gordon, but it gives an opportunity. Diamande comes in, great goal last week against St Johnstone, got to say that. He'll be full of confidence. Sterling, I'm delighted he's back in. I think he brings so much to this Rangers team, and I think Cortez has really hit the ground running. I think he could be a big player this afternoon. This will be a difficult match, no doubt about it, but I just look at that Rangers side, the form that they're in, you know, the confidence, that opportunity for the 5-point gap. I fancy Rangers big time today. Dujon
Sterling, Mark, perhaps epitomising the effort that Philippe Clement's getting from the players. He was brought in as some sort of backup right back. You're never going to get those chances when James Tavernier plays every week, and since then he's played pretty much everywhere. Looks like a sort of wide attacking midfield role for him today.
Oh, I mean, the importance of having a player like that in your squad, you know, can take you across the line. And Sterling has come in and played a number of positions. He'll find himself in a slightly different one today again. But you're looking at that starting 11 and you're seeing real strength and depth within that squad now. You know, the rotation from Clement is almost on a weekly basis, but the players that are coming in are still keeping the standards very, very high. The chances created very, very high. The goal return very good. So I mean, Desser's in today, Cortez on the wing. Daz is right about him. He looks like a real find. Diamande back in after his goal last week. All look strong and going in the right direction. However, this could be their biggest test they've had since Celtic Park, because Hearts are banging form.
Landmarks all over the place at Ibrox today. Connor Goldson, 300th appearance for Rangers, becomes the quickest man in Rangers history to reach that figure. Who would have thought it? But the quickest man in Rangers history. Last week, James Tavernier got to 120 goals for Rangers with his 2 at Perth against St Johnstone. If he scores today and goes on to 1-2-1, he surpasses John Gregg, the immortal John Gregg, who took 17 years to score 120 goals as a fullback at Rangers. Tavernier's done it in 9.
Well, it's quite special, no doubt about it, and it just keeps popping up. And I think that's the real beauty for Philippe Clement. When there was so much criticism on his frontman Dessers and people weren't sure about Danilo at the beginning of the season, once he got those couple of players scoring goals and then Silva coming in, he's always got the safety net of a fullback who can carry the can when you've not got your players at the top end of the pitch scoring. So it must be an incredible luxury to have, and fair play to James Tavernier. He's been through some difficult periods with Rangers as a team, but no doubt his personal performances have been top notch.
And how do we analyse Hearts without mentioning Lawrence Shankland? It is impossible. You have to start there. 18 goals for the season, by some distance the top scorer in the Premiership. Gordon, Philippe Clement said yesterday you can't just focus on him. He referenced coming up against Messi and Neymar and Mbappe last season, but you can also understand the logic that says if you can stop Lawrence Shankland scoring, then you give yourself a good chance of stopping Hearts.
With the manager saying that, I think he's talking about the service to Shankland. He'll be looking to stop the service getting in there, because Shankland is a terrific player. He's in great form. You give him half a chance today, he'll put the ball in the back of the net. Let's not be kidded there. So I think it's up to Rangers to stop that supply to Shankland. I think they'll have worked in that this week in training. But they're at home today. I know Hearts are in good form. They have got the best goal scorer in the league by a country mile just now. But that opportunity to get that 5 point gap, Gordon, it's too big for Rangers to mess up today.
Yeah, Rangers unbeaten in 12 meetings with Hearts in all competitions. Just the 2 draws, 10 wins in that time. What will we see at Ibrox this afternoon? We'll find out in the not too distant future. Let's go round the rest of the grounds then. What about the Battle of the Saints at Paisley? Fraser Wishart is there.
Yeah, looking forward to this one, Gordon, as we head towards the run-in, towards the end of the season. Bit to play for both these teams. St Mirren, of course, going for that top 6. St John's just want to keep their place in the Premiership after that terrible start to the season. And St Mirren in particular want to bounce back from last week's defeat against Livy. By all accounts, St Mirren played really well, but they even missed a penalty. Mikael Mandron, but they couldn't score a goal. 21 shots, only 3 in target. So Stephen also will be looking for his forwards to take some of those chances today, and they'll be looking to push for that top 6 place. 8 points ahead of Hibs in 7th. So that's the type of game they'll need to win to secure that spot for the second year running. But he'll know it'll be difficult against St Johnstone. We all know how Craig Levein operates. He gets his team very well organised. He'll look to frustrate St Mirren and hit on the break, and look to use the guile of Carey and the attacking prowess of Nicky Clark, who scored a few goals against St Mirren this season already. He's back in the team today. St Johnstone got that new manager bounce when Craig was appointed, but they've been a really sticky run recently. Just 1 win and 3 draws in the last 9 league games since mid-December. And they are a team now that Ross County and Livingston will be targeting for safety at the end of the season. You add to that the cup defeat at Partick Thistle, and you'll see why Craig is desperate to get back on winning ways. I don't think there'll be much in this game. These games between the two are usually very tight, quite often draws, but it'll be up to St Mirren. I think they'll have more of the game than they usually have. They like to hit on the break, but I think they'll be given most of the ball, and it'll be St Johnstone look to hit them in the break. So St Mirren in the attacking areas will look to do something a bit better than they have certainly in recent weeks. Looks like a 3-4-3 formation for St Mirren. A couple of changes. Dunn and Scott are dropped to the bench. Bolton comes back after suspension, and Jimison comes in. Zach Hemming in goals. James Bolton, Alex Gogic and Marcus Fraser at the back. Elvis Bomono, Kwon, Colin Bound, Boyd Muntz and Tanzer in the midfield, with Lewis Jimison and Greg Kiltie either side of Mikael Mandron. The subs for them: Peter Urminski, Richard Taylor, Jonah Ayunga, Ryan Flynn, James Scott, Keanu Bacchus, Charles Dunn, Toysey Olisanya and Jaden Brown. 4 changes for St Johnstone from that defeat against Rangers. McGowan, Keltons, May and Smith drop out. Connor Smith, that is. Gallagher, Clark, Bede and Kerr Smith come in. It's hard to judge their team. It looks like a 4-4-1-1 formation, a change from this week from Craig. Dimitar Mitov in goals, Kerr Smith, Liam Gordon, Andy Considine and Tony Gallagher in midfield. Back Graham Carey, Matt Smith, Dan Phillips and Luke Robinson across the middle, with Adama Sabidi and Nicky Clark up front. David Richards, Stephen May, Dialang Jayasimi, Maxim Kusharave, Olu Olufanwa, Sven Sprangler, Benjamin Kimpioka, David Keltons and Connor Smith are on the bench. And the referee today is Grant Irvin, and VAR is the specialist Andrew Dallas.
Looking forward to that one. The battle for the top 6 will be heating up as well. Hibs against Dundee at Easter Road, watched by Roger Hanna.
Yeah, Gordon, and I saw Hibs win 2-1 up at Danes in November. Lewis Miller bagged the winner before being sent off, but I think Montgomery's side, they arrive here today trailing. Did that Blues by 5 points with just 8 games to go before the top 6 split, and a defeat today would leave them really with a mountain to climb if they want to get into the top 6 this season. Hibs of course drew 2-2 last time out up at Aberdeen last week, and they received an apology from the SFA this week after they didn't receive a penalty for that contentious Nicky Devlin handball flashpoint. I think Montgomery said he's baffled, he's disheartened by the inconsistencies of VAR, but his team's inconsistencies must baffle and dishearten them as well. Their only win in the last 6 was in the Cup at Inverness, and they haven't won in the league since a 1-0 victory at Livingston back on December the 9th. By contrast to that, it's back-to-back wins for Tony Docherty's side at home to St Johnstone and Ross County last week, and that's put them clear of the likes of Hibs and Aberdeen in that chase for the last place in the top 6. They drew 0-0 last time they were here in September. The only downside for Tony Docherty is Dundee haven't won here at Easter Road on the last 16 visits. It's a run which stretches back to a 2-1 success in October 2001. Stevie Milne hitting a stoppage time winner for them then. Hibs, they've made 3 changes from the side that drew at Pittodrie last week. In come Rocky Bashiri, Emiliano Marcondes and Dylan Venter. Out go Nectar Triantis, Dylan Levitt, who's out the squad altogether, and Eli Ewins. And that means David Marshall has passed a fitness test and starts. It's a back 4, Lewis Miller, Will Fish, Rocky Bashiri and Jordan Obita. The holders in midfield will be Nathan Mariah Welsh and Joe Newell. Then it's Martin Boyle, Mizian Meolida and Emiliano Marcondes behind Dylan Venter. On the bench, Wallacott, Hanlon and Yuan, Miyenda, Amos and Stevenson, Lafondra, Triantis and Tavares. Dundee unsurprisingly unchanged from the latest win, that success against County 7 days ago. So that means it's Trevor Carson and goals. A back 4, Jordan McGee, Joe Shaughnessy, Aaron Donnelly and Owen Beck. In midfield, Luke McCowan, Mo Silla and Lyle Cameron. And up top, Amadou Bakayoko is flanked by Dara Costello and last week's 2-goal hero Scott Tiffany. On the bench, it's McCracken, Dodson and Astley. Main Lamy, who signed a pre-contract to move from Motherwell in a permanent deal in the summer. He signed that last night. Also on the bench, Mulligan, Robertson, Boateng and Mellon. The referee's John Beaton. The VAR is Chris Graham. And ahead of today's game, Gordon, the Hibs will pay homage to late owner Ron Gordon, who passed away a year ago this week. And there'll be a special video on the big screens here inside Easter Road which will celebrate Ron's life.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be a poignant way to kick things off at Easter Road today. What about Kilmarnock Aberdeen, David Friel?
Yeah, looking forward to this one, Gordon. I was just wondering whether I should wear a hard hat today after Neil Warnock's instructions to his Aberdeen defenders. I know the veteran manager's old school, but I don't think I've heard a manager say if in doubt, kick it out since my days of Mould Masters and Red Ash pitches many moons ago. Aberdeen's back 4, they've been shipping goals. They're under clear orders to hit Rose Ed today. Don't take any risks, so I'm expecting to be dodging clearances in the stand. We'll see if it works, and if Aberdeen win a game finally. Neil Warnock badly needs a win here. They're sitting 8th, they're running out of time to make the top 6. I think the 75-year-old was expected to provide a bounce on the pitch. Don't think it's really happened so far. Off the pitch there's been loads of sound bites, but Aberdeen haven't really convinced at all. Neil Warnock's only win in 4 games was against Bonnyrigg Rose. They shipped 5 goals and draws against Motherwell and Hibs and really need to up their game. They're 10 points behind Kelly coming into this one. They do have a game in hand, but this is a massive match for their top 6 aspirations. Neil Warnock yesterday claimed they're underdogs after losing twice to Kelly already this season. I'm not sure Aberdeen fans will be overly happy with that assessment given how much money's been put into this squad, but it does tell you how far Kelly have come under Derek McInnes. Warnock referred to the Kelly boss yesterday as a steady Eddie, which I felt was a wee bit harsh on Derek McInnes. He's done a great job at Kilmarnock. Rangers are the only team to beat them in the last 13 games, and they got that well-deserved draw at Celtic last weekend. Derek McInnes of course knows all about Neil Warnock. They were both leading characters in that West Brom Sheffield United battle of Bramall Lane 22 years ago. It was red cards, it was fights. Derek McInnes ended up looking like Rabsy Nesbitt after he got headbutted. It all kicked off. The game was eventually abandoned. I don't want to see scenes like this today, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't fancy a feisty one here this afternoon. Kelly, unsurprisingly, have named the same team that started against Celtic last weekend. Will Dennis in goals. Back 4, Lewis Mayo, Joe Wright, Stuart Finlay and Corey Ndaba. Midfield 4 of Danny Armstrong, Liam Donnelly, Liam Polworth and Matty Kennedy, with Kyle Vassell and Marley Watkins up front. Subs for Kelly are O'Hara, McKenzie, Watson, Balagizi, Murray, Davis, Stewart, Gary Mackay-Steven and Kevin Van Veen. As for Aberdeen, just the one change from that draw against Hibs. Dante Bolvara is in for Leighton Clarkson, so Aberdeen going to line up Kilroos in goals. Back 4 of Nicky Devlin, Stephen Garterman, Richard Jensen and Jack McKenzie. Midfield 3 of Connor Barn, Dante Polvara and Graham Shinney, with Jamie McGrath and Duke in behind Bojan Majowski. Subs for Aberdeen are Doohan, Clarkson, McGarry, Hayes, Phillips, Sockler, McDonald, Milne and Hoylett. The referee is Graham Granger and the VAR is Greg Aitken.
Well, we said there was big games top, middle and bottom, so let's go to Ross County against Livingston. Dave Galloway's there.
Yeah, thanks Gordon. I'm looking forward to a Dingwall ding-dong this afternoon as the Premiership's bottom 2 lock horns. It's Ross County interim manager Don Cowie's first home match in charge, and he's keen to make his mark. He wants to see attacking football and lots of desire and commitment, and he'd love to get the job on a permanent basis. A win here this afternoon wouldn't do his chances any harm. But hope remains in the Livingston camp that they can still drag their rivals into the relegation dogfight. and an away victory for Davy Martindale's men would haul them level with their hosts on points. A hard-fought triumph over St Mirren last weekend's given them something to build on, and they face Motherwell and St Johnstone in the next 7 days too. Looking at Ross County, firstly, 2 changes for them. In come Teddy Jenks and Jordan White. Out drop James Brown and Jan Danda. So George Wickens in goals. A back 4 of Nishi Efeti, Loic Aina, Ryan Leake and Josh Reid. Midfield, Teddy Jenks, Max Sheaf and Victor Laturi. Up top, Simon Murray, Jordan White and Eamon Brophy. The substitutes for the Staggies today, Ross, Borthwick Jackson, Brown, Sims, Harmon, Henderson, King and Keller. No changes whatsoever for Livingston today. It's as you were. So Shamal George in goals. Across the back, Jamie Brandon, Michael Nottingham, Eo Obalai and Mo Sangari. Midfield, Andrew Shinnie, David Carson and Jason Holt. Up top, it's Joel Newbley, Tete Yengi and Stephen Kelly. The subs for Livy today: Hamilton, Montano, Devlin, Anderson, Mackay, Kelly and Guthrie. Match referee David Dickinson, and on VAR duties it's Matthew McDermott.
That's you fully up to speed then on the team news from the big games in the Premiership this afternoon. We'll pause for breath and take a look back at some of the week's biggest talking points after these. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in this studio. We've given you the news, the team news from all around the grounds ahead of Saturday afternoon's Premiership action, and plenty of time to get back to those grounds as well. We quite often pause for reflection on some of the week's biggest talking points at this stage on a Saturday. Last night, Roger Hannah again. It was sort of linked to the title race, if you like, but lots of calls and tweets from Celtic fans looking at the recent set of financial results, 67 million in the bank, and most of them complaining, I guess, that more wasn't done with it in the January window. Whilst results are like they are on the pitch, Celtic as a club are not going to shake these accusations from their fans, are they?
No, absolutely not. And listen, there's a certain extent of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You know, there's criticism of the board from Celtic supporters that they're not spending enough money. And then there's been criticism since probably the last 4 transfer windows that the money they are spending isn't being spent very well. You look at the money that went in Navarotski, on Lagerbielka, on Tilio, on Yang, on Kwon, etc., etc., and the big long contracts a lot of these guys have got. So, you know, there are problems at Celtic. One of them, though, is not finances. And when you take away the criticism of the spending or lack of spending or manner of spending, it's robust financial figures, and the club's in a very healthy position, Gordon.
I mean, David Friel does the announcement of the 23.9 million committed in player investment over the last 2 windows suggest that those options that Roger outlines, it's really about how it's been spent rather than the amount of it.
Yeah, 100%, Gordon. For me, that was the most eye-catching figure. I know the £67 million in the bank, and actually expected to be slightly more, but for me, the 23.9 million spent in new signings, new contracts, was all that does to me is shine a light on how poor Celtic's recruitment has been for the last 2 windows and beyond. As Roger said, I think the 2 windows before that were really poor as well. Celtic aren't getting value for money. It's simple. Celtic have spent £24 million and managed to go backwards. I think that's 12 players in total. Obviously the contract renewal's great. Cameron Carter-Vickers, Rio Hatate, Mattarelli, guys like that, great. But Celtic, in terms of scouting, in terms of recruitment, in terms of also coaching the players, getting the best out of the players, I think Brendan Rodgers has to take a bit of blame for that, has been nowhere near good enough in the last 2 windows. and I think that has to change going forward. And I think it all feeds into the bigger picture and the bigger debate over Celtic's strategy and the overall strategy in terms of signings. Are they just going to stick with this buy low, sell high strategy, or are they going to tweak it? Brendan Rodgers' own record is saying Celtic need to be braver in the transfer market. They've certainly got the money to do it, but the hit rate has to be far, far better in terms of signings.
I mean, Fraser Wishart, it also underlines just how result is king, which I think we all knew. For years when Celtic announced these, it's almost a cause for celebration. It's like, it's Hugh Keevins referenced last night, they hold up like a trophy at times to say, look how good the business side of things is. But when it's coupled with bad results, it becomes a real negative. Now the figure's massive, of course it is, but at the same time, that 67 million, it's not just sitting there begging to be used for players. That money needs to be used to run the club, so maybe requires a little bit more thought. That said, you still understand where fans are coming from.
Oh, absolutely. Football fans put their heart and soul and their money into supporting football clubs, and many of them, the bigger clubs, travel all over Europe as well, so they expect the bigger teams to expect the results. Sometimes fans of bigger clubs complain when their teams are winning and it's too easy, because apparently Scottish football's bad for them in Europe, and now all of a sudden they're losing. It's a crisis as well. Complain about that. So fans do put their heart and soul into it, and I think football is a business that is different from anybody else's. If those figures were for any other business in Scotland, there'd be a cause for celebration, but football clubs are not really meant to make money, and I totally get that, because it's an entertainment, it's a sport, and as I said earlier, the supporters put their hard cash into the club. And I think I agree with the guys who were talking earlier about the transfer windows, and there's not too many players in the last few years that have been brought in that have taken the place by storm and come in the way Kyogo and Maeda and Hitati did a couple of years ago. They came in and just immediately took the whole place by storm, and have been terrific for Celtic. So I think that's one thing. And in isolation, in the January window, it has been a bit different when you look at the whole financial fair play set up as well, and English teams and other teams, big teams from big countries, not spending as much. So it was a different window. But that was one of 3 or 4 where I think Celtic supporters have been a bit disappointed with the players that they brought in, and it's dead easy for us to sit here and say, yeah, look, they should go and spend 10 million on a player. Once you do that and you bring in a player on high wages, it's a big commitment. Everybody else is coming in on that kind of level, and the current players are going to say, wait a minute, this guy's come in, he's getting paid 3 times what I'm getting paid, so it can create its own problems. So it's almost, I've got a bit of sympathy with the Celtic board, but in the end, they're the ones who are sitting up there. They're responsible, as are the recruitment guys, as is Brendan Rodgers, as are the players. They've got to be the ones together to put the results on the table for the supporters who turn up week in, week out.
On that point you made then about it being a difficult window, one of the phrases that we always hear, that I think that's a bit that's caused a bit of grumbling among Celtic fans as well. There's a quote there saying the board's commitment is to strengthen and improve. Resources were available. We were unable to further add to the squad due to unavailability of identified targets. Disappointing. It was never the intention. He said notoriously difficult window, clubs reluctant to sell. How much of that is true, Fraser, and how much of that deserves a bit more scrutiny by fans who say, well, I don't care if you can't get your top target, you go for the next one and you just find a way and you do more?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of truth in both, to be honest with you, Gordon. I think the recruitment wasn't great, and in terms of bringing in a couple of players more, and a couple more quality players, but I do think there is a bit of truth, just speaking to people all around England as well, at the PFA down there, and at clubs as well, there has been a bit of a difference. So if they're not signing as many players, then they're reluctant to let players go, even on loan. So it is notoriously difficult. You tend not to get players that are valued and players that are playing first team football because they're wanted by their clubs. But that said, I can totally get the Celtic supporters. The team was in need of a refresh. But when you've got a squad of players that have been brought in, and most of the players brought in last summer haven't been playing, so you've got a really heavy squad as well. So sometimes it's about getting 2 or 3 players out to bring 2 or 3 players in to save a wee bit on the wages and the size of squad as well. But no, I mean, I'm with the fans on this one. I don't think it was a great window for Celtic, but I've got a bit of sympathy as well with trying to bring players in, because it has been difficult over January for a lot of clubs.
Where would you sit on that, David Friel? Because as Fraser said, there's like a factual element to this. Just look at the way the window slowed down in England and across the board. But at the same time, because we mentioned that results aren't good, there's a lot of negativity. Fans are not reading that and saying, oh well, that's fine then, we completely understand and we trust you wholeheartedly. That's not the reaction that line in the statement's being met with.
Yeah, I think that line just led to more questions than answers, Gordon, to be perfectly honest with you, because I think the natural thing for Celtic fans to ask is, how hard did you try to spend the money? Could you have pushed the boat out a bit more just to get that target in. You know, as I said, Brendan Rodgers was very, very clear a couple of weeks ago. I was at the press conference. Celtic need to be braver in the transfer market. Now you look at the bank balance, Celtic have got the funds to be braver in the transfer market. Was it a case that they just couldn't get the players, or was it a case they just didn't want to go to the value that clubs had put in players? That's what we don't know. We don't know until we speak to someone about that. Brendan Rodgers, I'm sure, will be asked about it in the coming days. But I can understand why Celtic fans looking at that do have certain questions about that line in the statement.
What do you think, Roger?
Yeah, look, listen, football is a food chain, Gordon, and players that tend to come to the likes of Rangers and Celtic tend to be the ones that bigger teams don't want, or bigger teams are willing to let go. And you would see yourself as it's been the quietest English Premier League January window of all time, and it's the same. It's mirrored through the big leagues in Europe, Italy, Spain, Germany, France. The FFP rules have a lot to do with that, and if those clubs aren't letting players go down the way to the likes of Rangers and Celtic, it is harder than ever before for the likes of Rangers and Celtic. I mean, even, you know, the Rangers transfer policy isn't getting any scrutiny just now because they're winning games and they could go 5 points clear today, but the signings from Rangers in January weren't too different from the signings for Celtic in January. Both teams went down south and got a centre forward on loan who hadn't been playing for his club. Both went onto the continent and got a young winger that we didn't really know too much about. The only difference is Rangers added a third player when they brought in Mohamed Diamande from Denmark. So it's like anything else in football. People don't scrutinise when you're winning games, they do scrutinise when you're not winning games and you're falling 5 points adrift at the top of the league. Very early stages, granted, but I wonder if the distinction already is that Rangers fans feel those signings have improved their squad, whereas the Celtic fans are not entirely sure. Very much so. Just look at the goal Diamande scored last week at McDermott Park after a sort of stodgy first 35 minutes for Rangers. Cortez, who starts again today, has looked decent in the few flashes you've seen of him. Even Fabio Silva, I don't know he's on the bench today, but he has come into the team and done okay so far, whereas there are question marks about Nicholas Cowan. There's no doubt about that. Gordon, will be interesting to see if he starts at Fir Park tomorrow. And other than those two penalties that Adamida scored here at Easter Road, again, there'll be question marks there. Yeah, I mean, Fraser, a lot of the English stuff seems to have been driven by financial fair play rules and regulations. We're wondering what knock-on effect it has for us. I know you're involved in that side of things. To the dafties like us in the studio who explain what it's all about.
I'm not sure I can explain it as clearly as some people. I actually sit on UEFA's club licensing committee. I represent FIFPro, the players. I represent the players across Europe on that committee. So in brief detail, basically the rules are changing over the next couple of years, where clubs that compete in Europe will only be able to spend, next year it's 80%, and the following year it'll be 70%. And it's I think called the squad cost rule. So that 80%, 70% will be players' salaries plus the coaches' salaries plus agent fees plus transfer fees as well thrown into that. So they can only spend 70% in a couple of years, 80% next year of their football income. So if your football income is 100 million, you can only spend 70 million on player costs, if you like. So that includes wages, agents' fees, head coach for some reason, and also transfer fees. So that's beginning to limit the spending of the English clubs, because a lot of the time it might be the owner loaning them 100 million or something like that. That doesn't count. It's football income only. So it's a real change across Europe, and that's really leading to clubs being very cautious, because nobody's really quite sure how this is going to work out over the next couple of years. So I think you're going to see a change in player salaries, a change in the transfer system, and even the amount of transfer fees that are paid. But that's the real reason why everybody's really just having a look at things, being cautious with their spend, because the long-term spend over 4 or 5 years, it will kick into this financial fair play regs.
To pick a very specific example, David Friel, I've got a caller from last night who will testify, ringing in my ears about Joe Hart, because that's going to be a really relevant and important piece of recruitment that Celtic are going to have to sort soon. And he said he wouldn't trust the club to get that replacement right at this moment in time. What did you make of that news this week?
Yeah, I wasn't overly surprised that Joe Hart's leaving Celtic. I was quite surprised he's going to retire completely. I thought he would do the dream job, Gordon, and go down south and maybe be a number 2 or number 3 for someone and pick up a healthy wage packet for that particular delight. But no, look, it's going to lead to a problem for Celtic in the sense that they're going to have to replace Joe Hart this summer. They're going to have to probably replace Matt O'Reilly and probably replace Liel Abada, on top of the 4 players that Brendan Rodgers already said he wants, the 4 quality players. So it's going to be a big rebuild. Celtic do have the funds to do it, but there's going to be a big onus on the recruitment team, a big pressure on the recruitment team, and they can't afford to make mistakes in the last 2 or 3 windows.
I think the chairman's statement is an insult to the intelligence of the Celtic fans, and I'm not buying it. And he has a difficult time already with the Celtic fans. If Rangers win the league, and I think they will, it has to lead to a radical review of how Celtic go about their business. There has been a widespread acknowledgement that the last 2 windows have been disastrous. 12 players, none of them good enough. And how do you propose to win the league next season with these players who are not good enough? If you buy poor players, the chances are they'll play poorly, and they won't get better the season after. So they'll have to be moved out, moved on, and others will come in. The Celtic fans, as you said, Gordon, in the programme last night, don't trust the recruitment department. They don't like the way Peter Lawwell runs the club. And in the summertime, the roof will come off Celtic Park if Rangers win the league, and Celtic had better be prepared for some radical changes of policy, because the model, as it stands at present, is not working.
I suppose a technical point would be that Peter Lawwell is the chairman and therefore does not run the club, but you can all argue about that another time, because we've got big football matches to look forward to, and we go back around the grounds next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel all in the studio. It's a huge afternoon of Premiership action and down the divisions as well. Let's hear from Philippe Clement and Stephen Naismith ahead of their meeting at Ibrox.
It's a team with a lot of quality, a team who's well organised, a team that counts on a very important player to score goals, score more than 50% of their goals. It's the third best defence until now in the league, what proves that they are well organised and they're not afraid to wait to pick their moments. So for us it will be to break open that wall, to be dominant but not to be naive, and not to make to get transitions, not to get set pieces, because they're strong in that also, and play our normal game, and to have our fantastic fans behind us in Ibrox. That's also a major thing.
In my playing days here, we very rarely went to Celtic Park or Ibrox and got a result, and you probably going into the games never had a feeling that you were going to. We've managed to change that last season with 2-2 at Ibrox. We win at Celtic Park this year. We were close at Ibrox this season. We are managing to deal with the occasion and situation much better. So we just lean on all that. So yeah, we're in a much better place going into this. We're in a good run of form, and like every game we go wanting to get the win. Every game we go into we expect to try and get the win. We think we're good enough to get the win.
Looking forward to that one. We'll go back to Ibrox ahead of kick-off. St Mirren against St Johnstone. You'll be keeping an eye. Fraser Wishart and Stephen Robinson. There'll be no arguing with fans today, I assume.
No, big apologies by both parties last week. Very unusual because he was across the pitch. You know, Stephen is a very passionate guy. Even just watching him now, he's actually at the side of the pitch and watching his players warm up. He's hyperactive almost. He's on the go the whole time. So thankfully nothing daft happened from either side, and it's all been put to bed. But it's, I suppose, maybe just a wee bit prickly with the criticism last week, given the terrific season his team have had yet again, and they're on the verge of another top six. I was having a look at the table today, and then looking at last year's table when St Mirren did get to the top six after 33 games. I think they had 44 points, so they've got 39 just now, 35 just now, so they're not far away, and games like this are really important for them to get those 3 points, takes them really much closer to that top six place, especially when you see that Hibs and Aberdeen, who are closest to them with 8 games to go, are 8 points behind them. So big day, I think, for St Mirren today.
If you're on dugout watch, Rugby Park would be a nice place to be as well for Neil Warnock's trip there to face Derek McInnes. But on the football side of things, David, it's not an easy fixture for Neil Warnock. He's been telling the public he wouldn't be putting money on Aberdeen, that sort of thing. But amid all the sound bites, Aberdeen fans really need to see some points on the board soon.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of mind games from Neil Warnock, but yeah, 100%, Gordon, they need to start winning games. They need to start showing signs that, I probably expected when Neil Warnock came in that Aberdeen were going to be really, really hard to beat, really well organised, trying to nick games with the odd goal, but it's been the opposite. They've been so open at the back. They are scoring goals, but they're shipping goals left, right and centre. I don't think Neil Warnock has really found the right blend so far, and he's got a really, really tough game here today. It's funny, I think Kilmarnock and Livingston and the teams with plastic pitches are sometimes accused of keeping them dry when the big clubs come to town. Well, this pitch has been absolutely soaked for the last half hour. I came in here about 2 o'clock and the sprinklers were on there. It's not really stopped. And Kilmarnock clearly fancy this. He's gone with an attacking team again. Derek McInnes. We know who he's got on the bench: Van Veen, Mackay-Steven, Greg Stewart, all these guys as well. I think Kilmarnock really fancy this. And if they can get 13 points ahead of Aberdeen with only 11 games to go, I don't think Aberdeen will catch them.
They put it under enormous pressure. They know what they're doing. They've got good wide players. I had Matthew at Cardiff, and I know he puts a great ball in. Armstrong as well. Lads up front, quality. So we know you're going to be under pressure all the time. But what we've got to do is make sure that their lads are under pressure and that they're under just as much as what we are. They've lost 1 in 13, haven't they, from what I can gather, and I think that was Rangers. So it shows you what we're up against. I don't think many people will be putting any money on us, will they, this weekend? But, that's where the underdog comes in. I do like being the underdog.
Well, they've had some tough games. They go to Ibrox. I watched the game, or up to watch the game against Motherwell last week, and then the game against Hibs, which is never straightforward against these sort of teams. So, I think like any new manager, you go in and you try to assess what you're seeing and also address things that need to be improved. So, I think for us it's like we've got an idea maybe what type of team they're going to pick, but again, what I said earlier, it's just try to make sure we focus on us. I think we've got to expect a tough game for Aberdeen, but equally I want them to expect a tough game for us and get exactly that.
St Mirren against St Johnstone. We've been back to Fraser. We've just touched on Kilmarnock against Aberdeen as well. Roger Hanna, where is Nick Montgomery in terms of his satisfaction rating amongst the Hibs fans, would you say?
Can I answer that at 10-5 please, Gordon, because I think today is pivotal for Nick Montgomery. It's as big a game as he will have seen here probably in his tenure. A win and Hibs are right back in the fight for a top 6 place, but they haven't won, as I said at the top of the show, in the league since a 1-0 win at Livingston back in December the 9th. It's been a miserable run in the Premiership for them, and if they were to lose or even draw again here against Dundee, I think the Hibernian fans would let their unhappiness be known. And a bit like everything in Glasgow is shaped through the prism of the Old Firm. Part of the problem for Hibs and for Nick Montgomery is how well Hearts have been doing. They're scorching away in 3rd place. They're going to get European football. They've held on to their star performer in Lawrence Shankland, and of course after today there's a little matter of an Edinburgh derby in midweek.
Yeah, let's hear from Nick Montgomery.
Yeah, we're in the last eight games before the split, so yeah, we know that it's a really important game, and yeah, all we can do is focus on ourselves. What we can't focus on is where other teams are above us. It's up to us to try and get points now, as many points as possible, and give ourselves the best chance of finishing the season strongly. And we know that we've had too many draws this season. I think that's really hurt us. Too many draws, and especially draws from winning positions, which we spoke about before. So yeah, now we have to just concentrate on each game as it comes and try and get maximum points in every game.
So there were the thoughts, of course, of Nick Montgomery up against Tony Docherty today.
It'll be a very difficult game. We've already had 2 previous encounters against Hibs. The nothing each draw at Easter Road, I felt we did well in, and the 2-1 here, where I felt a wee bit aggrieved. We should have, I think, at least taken a point from the game. So we know the task ahead of us. They're a good side, Hibs. They're a possession-based team with a real expansive style of play. So we've managed to have a full week's training this week, which is a bit unusual with the amount of games we've had up to recently. And you certainly work on a game plan during that week. But I know getting into Saturday's game, it's a great venue, brilliant venue to play at. The players will enjoy that. They've already enjoyed it this season. But it's a tough opponent, and there's a lot we'll need to do right in terms of in possession and out of possession to give ourselves a chance of picking up points on the road.
And for Ross County Livy, Dave Galloway, we're starting to see signs of life from Livingston. Just how big is today in that battle at the bottom?
It's absolutely massive. I'm really looking forward to it. If either of the two managers were to say it's only 3 points, absolute nonsense. Both teams desperate for a win, and because of there being so much at stake, I think it all points towards a very tense and tight encounter. Don Cowie's first 2 games in interim charge of Ross County, they've ended in defeat, and they've not had a win in their previous 11 matches. Can they start to turn things around today? Certainly it's a very attack-minded formation he's put up with 3 up front. As we know, Davy Martindale said this week that keeping Livingston in the top flight would be the biggest achievement of his career. They're buoyed by back-to-back wins in Cup and League, and if they could make that 3 in a row, that would make things very interesting indeed down at the bottom of the table, wouldn't it? A 2-goal winning margin, incidentally, that would lift them off the foot of the table and above County on goal difference. So everything to play for here.
We should have Sunday in store, and we go back to Ibrox for kick-off next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Stage is set across the country for the 3 o'clock games. We went round the rest of the stadia before the break, so let's finish off building up to kick off at Ibrox.
Thanks, Gordon. Yes, atmosphere building here at an expectant Ibrox. They want their team to move 5 points clear at the top of the table. Who would have thought that when Philippe Clement arrived at the start of October? But it's not going to be easy today by any means. It's a battle between the league's 2 in-form sides. Hearts have won their last 8. Rangers have won their last 9. Something has got to give today. Now, of course, Rangers have won all 3 meetings between the 2 teams this season. That's 3 of Hearts' last 4 defeats. It did require a miraculous turnaround at the first meeting here. Lawrence Shankland giving the visitors the lead, and it required 2 stoppage time goals from Rangers to turn that around. Hearts been impressive in the big games this campaign. They'll be hoping to set up the same again today. I've got to say, Gordon, their away form really impressive. They've won 5 in a row on the road. Their best away streak in the top flight for 13 years. Can't wait for kick-off. Let's quickly go through the teams again. We'll start with the host. Philippe Clement makes 4 changes to the team that won up at St Johnstone last weekend. Ridvan Yilmaz, Sterling, Lawrence and Dessers are all in. Todd Cantwell is out for up to 4 weeks with an injury. He's out along with Barisic, Wright and Silva. So it'll be the 4-3-3 formation as usual. Jack Butland in goal. A defence of James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter and Ridvan Yilmaz. John Lundstrom and Mohamed Diamande will be in midfield with Tom Lawrence just ahead of them. Looks like Dujan Sterling will be on the right wing with Oscar Cortez on the left. Cyril Dessers leads the line. The substitutes today: McCrory, Silva, Wright, Davis, Spalligan, Raskin McColson and Kemar Aroof in the squad for the first time since before Christmas. Hearts, as we know, in fine form. Only 3 changes for Stephen Naismith's side. The 3-5-2 formation as per usual. Xander Clark in goal. A defence of Frankie Kent, Kai Rolls, Stephen Kingsley, Nathaniel Atkinson and Alex Cochrane will be the wing-backs with Cal Nieuwenhof, George Grant and Benny Beningame in the middle of the park. Kenneth Vargas is up top with Lawrence Shankland. We all know how heavily he was linked with a move to Ibrox in January, but he stayed put. He's got 23 goals in all competitions this season, and he'll be trying to prove to Rangers what they could be missing on. As he leads the team out now, the Hearts captain standing alongside James Tavernier, the Rangers skipper leading the 2 sides out. Rangers in blue, Hearts in their maroon jerseys. What a huge game this is in the title race. As I said, Gordon, a packed out Ibrox here waving flags. Even the most optimistic supporters here would have struggled to imagine this miraculous turnaround, but they don't want them to stop here. They want a 5-point lead over Celtic before the defending champions play at Fir Park tomorrow. The 2 teams just shaking hands. It's a massive game here. We are just about to get underway at Ibrox.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. New year, new start. Quit the cigarettes with the smoking cessation programme.
You get the sense every Saturday between now and the end of the season is going to be more important than the last. And I'm not talking about on the pitch, I'm talking about because you 3 dumplings are running out of time to get a ACCA up between now and the end of the season. What are you thinking today, Hugh Keevins?
Rangers to beat Hearts, St Mirren to beat St Johnstone, Killie Aberdeen a draw, and Hibs Dundee. Nick Montgomery, famous for draws, I think he get another one today, and Ross County to beat Livy.
Okay, I'm going to go Rangers home win against Hearts. St Mirren to beat St Johnstone. I think it will be a draw down at Rugby Park between Killie and Aberdeen. A A draw at Easter Road as well, 2-2. You would have to think, with the former Hibs. And Ross County beat Livingston.
That's you and me agreeing for the second week in a row.
You got the same?
Yeah.
I need to mix up a little bit. I'll go Rangers, St Mirren. I'm going with you guys, Kilmarnock Aberdeen draw. I'm going a Hibs home win against Dundee.
Ooh,
and I'm going a Ross County home win.
Right, strap yourselves in then for a Saturday afternoon that's usually high on drama and excitement, but hopefully plenty of goals. That's the bit we can't guarantee, but fingers crossed as we get underway all around the country. You can stay in touch all afternoon, and we would encourage you to do so at Clyde SSB on Twitter. And then of course the main event, when the games are said and done, the chance for you to have your say on the phones. So jot it down if you want. 01419511025. Get ready, because as soon as this is done, we're going to be desperate to know what you are thinking. There's actually a minute's silence at Ibrox, Hugh, for Ian McMillan ahead of that game.
Remember him well. He's a terrific player. What was known back in those days as an inside forward. Just a class act. He then went on to manage Airdrie. Actually signed my cousin for Airdrie when he was the manager there, and a very much a gentleman, Ian McMillan. So I remember him well and fondly.
And before we've even got up and running at Ibrox, Liam Donnelly's volleyed over for Kilmarnock. The start's delayed a bit at Hibs. Some pyrotechnics from the away end by the looks of it. So a bit of a staggered start across the place. And once VAR kicks in, who knows what time we'll get these games wrapped up today. It always has a bit of unpredictability about it. Having said that, as much as VAR is doing most people's heads in, great advert for VAR for Hull last night, you have to say.
Outrageous. Outrageous. We were robbed.
We.
Would you listen to this?
I've waited for a few months to
a wee camper
and get the wee in.
But I have wondered about this, because it's hard to weigh up at times, you know, the good bits and the bad bits. Like last night, like I said, what a brilliant advert for VAR, and you never thought you'd say that, because it does come with so many frustrations. But goals like that need to stand. They need to stand.
Of course they do. I think it's been a bad week for VAR. The apology given to Hibs, I think, is a joke. What use is an apology to you when you are desperate for points? Mick Montgomery, the last thing he needed was another draw, and I do appreciate that the award of a penalty is not the award of a goal. You still have to score from it. However, to be denied the award was poor on the part of the officials. I'm
a bit less worked up about those, because Aberdeen fans felt they should have had a penalty, and they didn't. And I know to everybody it looks like that's a clear penalty, and to really infuriate everyone by reminding us for the 100th time, it's still subjective, and for whatever reason didn't think it met the threshold. But that's different. That is different last night. Those sort of factual ones, and I don't know, maybe we get to a stage where VAR's only used for offside or something like that, but you just watch that and think, with so much on the line, that just has to stand, that goal.
And it's the moment of the game where it goes in, you know, and then Dunfermline go up and score a third goal and put the game to bed. It's a huge decision. It could alter where, of course, Partick or any team for that matter, if they have one of those decisions finished in the game. So it's a good
what a fast start we've got at Ibrox.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 1, Hearts 0. Mohamed Diomande again, a left foot shot outside the box, bottom corner from 20 yards. That is exactly the start Rangers were looking for, and as things stand, I'm only joking, Hugh, it's a bit early for that, but they are stretching their lead ahead of Celtic at the top.
The worst possible thing that could happen to Stephen Naismith and his players. We always knew that the atmosphere was going to be turbocharged at Ibrox today, but that has really ignited the crowd. The value of a 5-point lead, even if it only puts Celtic off their sleep for the night, it cannot be underestimated by the Rangers supporters, and that is a dynamic start and a shocker for Hearts.
I don't know what the Rangers manager says to his players just as they left the dressing room, but it's certainly made an impact right away. Diomande, he looks a real class player, this lad. He scored a terrific goal last week, obviously playing with a lot of confidence, and it's a terrific start from Rangers, you've got to say.
Yeah, listen, a midfielder who's not afraid to shoot, worth their weight in gold, and 2 and 2 from already proven to be a worthwhile signing. and that's the difference between the Rangers signings, I think somebody mentioned it before, and the Celtic signings. But what a start, because these games are difficult. We're at home, so much expectation now at Ibrox on the players' shoulders, and a goal after 90 seconds certainly lifts some of the pressure.
Every time an incomer at Rangers scores, it makes the incomers at Celtic look worse. So all of these happenings are the last things that the Celtic supporters need. So this is going to be a tense weekend for the Celtic fans.
We shall not be moved rings out around Ibrox. It's almost like shades of Reo Hatate. Sign a midfielder in January, gets chucked straight in, keeps scoring goals from outside the box in his first few games. That's what Mohamed Diomande is doing.
I thought you couldn't sign players in January. You can never find one.
Do you know something? It shows you the lad's confidence, because what is he, 20 odd yards out apparently? He's got the confidence to take that on. You know what I mean? That comes from last weekend, there's no doubt about it, because he scored a terrific goal at Perth, and he's followed it up by another very good goal today, a very important goal. Rangers fans have always been talking lately, oh, we're going to give somebody a doing. Can it be an informed Hearts this afternoon?
It's a really nice goal. It was sort of one touch out the feet really quickly, and then let loose with the left boot, dragged across Xander Clark and into the bottom corner. I wouldn't say through a ruck of bodies, but certainly past a couple that maybe made it a bit difficult for Xander Clark. But either way, it's Rangers 1, Hearts 0. The goal in the second minute, and it's a dream start for the home side at Ibrox. There was a VAR check for a Dundee penalty for handball, but it was waved away. Good start by St Mirren there on top, pushing St Johnstone back. Dimitar Mitov already called into action to save a shot by Caelan Boyd-Munce, and Kelly doing all the pushing against the plucky underdog, says David Friel. If I dig at Neil Warnock's assessment of things. Right, before we get any more early drama, Hugh, let's do this.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Tropicality, that's what we want. 5 players have moved directly between Motherwell and Celtic on a permanent basis since 2005, making first team appearances for both. Who are they? 5 players have moved directly between Motherwell and Celtic on a permanent basis since 2005, making first team appearances for both clubs. Name them.
Tell you, even with a vested interest in the question, I think that's pretty tough, because I've got the answers in front of me.
Tough?
Yeah. I think if you, I'd say
we've battered 3 out already.
Let me see.
3.
I'll tell you.
3 right out already, right out the traps.
No, you haven't.
Okay.
You've got 2.
We'll get 2 right. Okay.
Yeah, some of these are pretty tough. At Clyde SSB, you have to come up with all 5 on one tweet, send it to @Clyde SSB, and do it quicker than everyone else. That is the aim of the game. So let's see how quickly you can get off the mark on that one. Gordon and Mark Wilson reckon they've got 2 already. We'll see what you can come up with. Since 2005, directly between Motherwell and Celtic on a permanent basis. Good question. Very
You think that
good
would be
question.
easy, wouldn't you?
Do you know somebody? I thought we were just going to get it and, settle down for after.
I would say only 2 of them are easy.
And they've
I've got one.
He's got
I've
one.
got one.
There
Only
we go.
2.
There he goes.
Yeah, we've got 3.
We've got 3, yep.
We've got 3 now.
3 easy ones by any chance? I said there was only 2. I thought,
What a shout that is from the man standing to my right.
Yeah, well, anyway, you can get involved at Clyde SSB. That early Mohamed Diomande goal is the only one in the Premiership so far. He's settled into goal scoring life quite well at Rangers. A good piece of January business so far, on the face of things. And we mention this all the time. In some ways, it doesn't matter, Gordon, whether it's Hearts or anyone else, because we sometimes forget, as good as Hearts are and as good as they've been, there's still a massive gap there. They still go there as major underdogs, and losing a goal inside 2 minutes absolutely kills you more often than not. But we'll see what they can come up with.
Yeah, sometimes Rangers are quite well known for this. They got off to a good start, they get that goal, and then the pace drops off a little bit. I'm sure the Rangers manager will be saying, look, we need to get the second, we need to get the third, we need to put this game to bed as quick as we possibly can, because Hearts will always have that threat of Shankland up front. Stephen Naismith obviously came with a game plan, probably saying to his players before they went out the dressing room, look lads, keep this tight for the first 10-15 minutes, try and play your way into the game. But Rangers have really got on the front foot. Terrific goal. The next goal has got to be so important.
You can go there with an 8-game winning run behind you, and you can go there with the top goal scorer in the Premiership in Lawrence Shankland, but to lose as early as that is still a serious dent to your confidence, and that the psychology of the game changes in that instant.
But it's the next goal, Hugh, because I've seen this picture before with Rangers. They get off, they look good, they're sharp, they're moving the ball about, they're creating chances, they get the goal, and then there's sort of a drop off again, and it goes a bit flat. I think the manager will be pushing them forward to say, let's put this game to bed as quickly as possible. But it's a terrific start.
Let's face it, this guy Clement is serious time. This is a serious football manager. The job that he has done grows ever more impressive, and if he sticks his nose in front by 5 points tonight, it just causes everyone, Rangers and Celtic fans, to look at the remainder of the season and think this guy might just have it.
Well, let's not forget, earlier this season Rangers trailed Hearts at Ibrox until the 90th minute and won the game. So there are various ways of doing it. Hearts scored early that day and it still wasn't enough, so there are various ways of going about it. What a start for Morton. Morton 2, Airdrie 0 inside 11 minutes. George Oakley and then Michael Garrity. I'm reliably informed that if Morton win by more than 3, George Bowie turns the speed up on the tunes on GBX after 6, so it'll be even more lively than usual. But what a season Dougie Imrie and Morton are having, or what a part of the season.
Yeah, including that cup win over your own beloved.
Whatever.
So all credit to him.
When was the last time they were beaten? 15 games ago or something like that? 16 games ago.
Robbie Williams was still on take that.
An incredible run, because I remember he was going through a difficult wee period where, you know, a lot of people not happy with him, but great run. But and of course, if they won that, they go, what did they go, 2 points behind Thistle? They're in third place.
The Dazzler Derby.
Yeah, the Gordon Dalziel Derby. Ayr 1, Wraith Rovers 1. Royce Silla on 11 minutes there, levelling things up. So there's been a lively old start to a few of the Championship games. Not quite the same joy in the Premiership.
That's the only game I want both to lose.
How can you want Wraith to lose? I thought you were a Wraith legend.
But I don't particularly like, I don't go back up there.
You don't want them to get promoted, because then it diminishes your achievements, basically.
Yeah, I don't want anybody or anything to overtake my achievements.
Morton's run would match Benny Rooney's run in the 79-80 era, Hugh, with 15 games unbeaten. There you
go. Great man, Benny and Mick Jackson.
Sign me.
There. Yeah,
sign me.
Some man, Benny.
It was absolutely brilliant. Him and Mick Jackson partnership. Yeah, superb.
Benny
Rooney signed me. Yeah. He said it's the best signing he ever made in his career.
No, he didn't.
I know he didn't, but I said it was.
Just one real save so far, and the big one at the bottom. Wickens parried Brandon's drive at the other end. Eamon Brophy blasted one over. You were up in Dingwall yesterday. What was the feeling amongst the locals? Was the town buoyant with chat of escaping relegation?
Listen, I've got to say, I didn't even see one person in the main street. It's the most, quietest town you can ever see. But we arrived yesterday with the young team, and the first team were on the pitch working on some set pieces, and I got 10 minutes chatting to Don Cowie. So I think he deserves his chance here. Don's been there a long time, but understands how difficult a job it is taking over for a manager who's brought in their own loan signings. And
enough about that. How did the Partick Thistle under 18s
do? Terrific.
Are they flying?
4-2 winners. I mean, we actually scored quicker than Rangers yesterday.
Did you? You're still leaking a lot of goals. See, for sort of a guy that played defence.
No, I'm not interested in defence.
You're coaching at the back.
Defence
can't be too clever, is it?
A thing of the past.
So you're quite happy to give up 2-3 goals
without doubt, as long as you win. As long as we're entertaining.
It's an entertainment industry.
So great teams aren't built from the back now. Is that what you're saying?
No, you build up from the front.
Ange ball,
Wilson ball.
The double.
They
K.
score 3.
Kevin
We'll score
Keegan.
4.
You're a Kevin Keegan.
2.
Mushroom ball.
It's the second week in a row that you've had to go to Dingwall. Last week you
conquered the Highlands.
You got a bit of stick because you refused to buy your team a chippy at Aviemore on the way home. Did you oblige them yesterday?
Oh, certainly not. I just kept the same protocol. I said you've got 15
money
minutes.
This guy's got stuck away from those Champions League bonuses.
That's all been spent.
Right,
trust me.
It's quite simple. It's not 25th suppers. It's 10th suppers between 20 Right?
You
Because you
could
get
have
two
gone one
fish,
between two.
6 chips each. Boom. Job done.
David
You're a
Field
great
makes
coach.
a very good point. Yeah, you really should have just picked up the phone to Dave Galloway, asked for directions to the Wimpy, and got whatever Wimpy's equivalent of a Happy Meal is, one each for the boys.
Times 20.
Happy days
There
down
you
the
are.
road.
David would have gave you some vouchers. He's got a stack of vouchers for one penny.
Because he's the only guy that does.
10%.
Cut out the local Inverurie paper.
I bet they're starting to go, oh, here he comes again. I wonder what coupons he's got. 20% off.
What do you think the Wimpy equivalent of a Happy Meal is? They must have one.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I don't think I've ever had a Wimpy.
No.
It
Never
gets,
had
a
a
lot,
Wimpy?
it gets a lot of airtime and a lot of publicity in this show. I think they should be sending stuff into us
all the way from Dingwall. I'd rather not. Imagine the
maybe not.
state of it by the time it arrived in here. Nah, we're alright, thanks, we're fine. Anyway, 1-0 to Rangers. Ibrox Diamande settling into life in Scottish football quite quickly. His second goal in 2 games. No other goals to tell you about. Latouri's had a pile driver from distance, tipped over by George. Pile driver from distance. I thought that was another wimpy burger there, given the names that Dave Galloway tells us that they have every week. But there we go. Tipped over by Shamal George.
Shamal
Big
George,
day.
a starter now every week, is he? Because I know
up
he's
and
been
down.
he's in and out, and I think that's been a problem for Livy. You need
I think he's been injured as well. Michael McGovern played a couple, didn't he? I know that Jack Hamilton played at the start of the season.
Need a reliable goalkeeper if you're going to have any consistency, and that might be a problem.
If Livy win, you're on the same points as Ross County. What a day. However, if you lose and you fall 6 points behind Ross County, again it's a kind of psychological blow. So that's the importance of the game in Dingwall, where I was there once where a taxi driver told me nothing ever happens here.
In Dingwall?
Doesn't it?
You said yesterday you could.
It's amazing. We drove in now peak afternoon, probably 12 we drove in.
Peak afternoon.
Peak, that's where
half 12 peak afternoon.
The bus driver said he said, do you know how to get to Dingwall? I thought
the bus driver asked you.
I thought that's pretty much your job.
Good start.
But anyway, you just go straight on over the bridge, and he says, what is there today here? Because he's got 4 hours to kill, or something like that, 3 or 4 hours. I said, this is the main drag here. This is the main strip.
Was your answer?
And he looked a bit and he thought, is this it?
The main
I think he was thinking
the
it was going to be
strip.
The Vegas strip.
He thought, I don't know what he was expecting. And then after the game I said to him, so where did you go? What did you do? He says, nothing. It was a 17-minute walk. He googled it for the training centre to the main
this
street.
was your mistake. You should have called me.
Do you know?
There is a spectacular wee coffee shop beyond Dingwall, and it overlooks the water. Oh, what a place it is.
He couldn't take his bus there.
I had a coffee with Malky Mackay for a TV interview there once. Very nice, very picturesque.
Very
there
nice.
you go.
I'll
You
tell
missed-
him that the next
Aye,
time.
next time, yeah.
Honestly, sat in the bus for 4 hours. So he did, just went and didn't even come out to watch the
Did he
game.
come and watch?
Couldn't think anything worse staying in Dingwall.
Anyway, the Dingwall Tourist Board are very upset with us at the moment.
Don't
No
get that
offence.
broadcast up there.
It's a lovely part of the world, and no offence to anyone involved. Right, you've missed a couple of incidents from Ibrox. Dessers was kind of running through from halfway, cuts back in, but the shot was saved. It was a good run. Then there was James Tavernier, got a lot of that strike, but well saved by Xander Clark. Would have been a cracker. So Rangers trying to find that early second, and there was a bit of a delay at Rugby Park. Nicky Devlin getting some treatment, clattered by Marley Watkins, and we wait to see what the outcome of that is. A reminder, your teaser is up and running already. Maybe Hugh would be so kind as to remind us of the question.
In honour of Motherwell playing Celtic tomorrow at Fair Park, 5 players have moved directly between Motherwell and Celtic on a permanent basis since 2005, making first team appearances for both clubs. Name them.
Derek FM has produced a very, how can it be a good answer if it's wrong? Right, clearly it can't, but let's do it, Hugh, to get it out of the way. Kevin McBride.
No, not there.
It's a good one though. You're not far off. Jamie McElduff wants to throw in Stephen Pearson.
Well, so did Mark Wilson, but we agreed to throw it back out again.
Lots of people are saying Stephen Pearson, I have to say. The other most common wrong answer, by a mile, I would say, almost everybody is saying this one.
I know who it is.
Sideshow Bob wants to throw it in there. John I wants to throw it in there. Stephen McManus.
Not there.
No.
We've got them.
We've got them, locked him in.
Locked them in, yeah. They're on the podium.
Stephen Pearson was just before 2004, and Stephen McManus wasn't direct, was it? There was a few clubs in between.
He went to Bristol City, didn't he? And
Middlesbrough,
yeah.
There are a couple of difficult ones on there.
There is.
For those outside that
You've done
struggling.
well there. You've done well in getting a couple of those.
Right, at Clyde SSB, I've given you a few clues there, a few hints. We've eliminated some wrong ones, so see if you can tick along and get the rest of them. At Clyde SSB, the race is still on, so let's see what you can come up with. Rangers very comfortable at Ibrox, or as comfortable as you can be when it's won, and clearly a second would be desirable for the home fans. Hearts just looking for that way back in. They've not really created much, and I often wonder, Mark, that kind of challenge of going there when you're one of the better teams, if you like, and therefore there is an onus on you to believe in yourself a bit and attack a bit and try and do something, but in many ways that can leave you more vulnerable. It's a frustrating one, because we're not saying you should always just park the bus, but sometimes that is the bit that frustrates, whether it's Rangers or Celtic, and that is the bit that you might grind something out.
Well, I think Stephen Naismith would have learned a lot probably from his first visit there, where they went 1-up. I know this game's taken on a different form, but he tried to adopt similar tactics. Did he not change late on in that game, his tactics, and then it led to conceding 2? But I guess just stick to what's been successful for you. I mean, Stephen Naismith's on a terrific run up until this point, so why would you throw all that good work out the window?
Would you not tweak it? Going to Ibrox, knowing what Rangers.
To be fair though, maybe we overanalyse these things. Nothing wrong with the Hearts' tactics. They're just losing the game to a better
honest,
side. It's just...
No, if I'm on a run like he would, and I'm quite comfortable when I'm in third place, if I lose, I would stay the same, because I've got the best results.
But that's what I'm saying about the over-analysis. It's easier said than done. How do you do what Hearts want to do when you can't get the ball?
Of course. I guess in possession, I would stick to my principles, but out of possession.
How did you feel about these as a striker? Right? You see this all the time. Cyril Dessers has just missed an absolute sitter because Yilmaz's shot was spilled by Xander Clark. It popped up to Dessers. He's about 5 yards out. He's got a header and he misses, but the flag goes up. Do you look at they always look at the linesman. Does it actually get you off the hook?
Yeah, 100%. That doesn't matter. You just you casually walk back, shake your head and move on. If the flag doesn't go up,
but I mean the flag goes up afterwards, you've still committed the crime. No,
I know, but
the most surprising thing about that answer is that you've admitted to. I thought you were going to say no, I just don't miss. I wouldn't have missed.
Well,
you've admitted
obviously the last time I played there it was the exact same, and I won a big cup. Remember, with a 30-yard header off the goalkeeper, bang, there's your dinner. Thank you very much, let's go up the road and celebrate. But obviously the referee, the linesman never gave offside that day, thank goodness. But I think when you miss a chance and it's offside, I don't think it affects you at all.
Just curious. Just so the strikers love it though, don't they? Take the look over the line, please bail me out. Hugh Keevins.
Give him a wee applause. Well done, good call. I knew I was off.
Dessers needs to miss 4 times and then he scores at the 5th attempt.
It's not bad though, if you still score.
Yeah.
You know
See what I
mean?
like about him, Hugh, he's actually getting into good positions.
Yeah.
Right?
That was an offside position just for
it doesn't matter, he's just timed it wrong. But he's getting into good positions in the box. He's starting to look like a centre forward. Obviously the manager thinks so because he's played him in front of
Big
Silva.
goal at the bottom. Which way has it gone though?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
The Staggies take the lead. Ross County 1, Livingston 0. Eamon Brophy with the goal. That's a dagger to Livingston's survival hopes, but a big boost to those of Ross County. It was a mistake by Sangari. I'm sure David Martindale will take that well, and Brophy tucked the ball away to make it 1-0 to the hosts.
Well, David Martindale said if he kept Livy up it would be the achievement of his managerial lifetime, but if Ross County win, there's a 6-point gap, and I think it's a crushing blow for Livingston, who, upset St Mirren fans last weekend, but they're bang up against it now.
Good to see he's mellowing in his old age. Neil Warnock's going mad at the fourth official for a throw-in decision that's gone the wrong way in his mind. Big goal at the top of the Championship. Dundee United 0, Queen's Park 1. Rory Payton has scored, and you're starting to look at which teams are getting really close to their goals, because I was going to say not so much their goals, maybe the opposite end of the table. Clyde maybe slipping out of
Yeah, they're playoff material.
Hopes to stay in the SPFL. Stenhousemuir 1, Clyde 0. Ewan O'Reilly there. I told you about that Dundee United Queen's Park goal, sorry. It could be huge. And if you're looking at the first team in Scotland to wrap up the title, Falkirk are 1-0 up.
You're about 20 in front, isn't they?
Spartans, not quite as many as that.
Big John,
Tom Lang.
Big John still panicking though. Producer John, big Falkirk fan, was saying to us midweek, can we blow this? Because I'm not quite confident. Relax, John. I think you've got it in the bag. But Queen's Park, what job Callum Davidson's doing?
Yeah.
It's amazing what a difference a manager can bring, because there's Queen's Park, we all think they've got the finances and we've got the infrastructure there, and you know that a certain style of playing just wasn't working. You bring in someone who's been there, done it, hugely experienced, and look at the upturn results.
This is the regeneration of Callum Davidson's career. You know, how can a man win 2 trophies with St Johnstone? But he managed it, and then the stocks rise and fall, and his fell. But this is a regeneration. Queen's Park made a very smart appointment there.
I think Jim will need to watch what he's doing. Results are starting to go against him, and when that happens, you know the expectations at Tannadice, they think that they're a certain to get promoted. So a little bit of pressure, but still plenty of football
but
left.
Wraith might let them off the hook. They're not winning yet either. Spartans 2, Bonnie Rigrose 0. So a good start there. Did I say Spartans have signed Mark McNulty?
Yes, yeah.
A good signing.
It's a financial necessity for Dundee United to go up, and therefore it's a financial disaster if they don't go up. So that's the kind of pressure on Jim Goodwin's shoulders.
Yeah, a bit of a sign of life from Hearts. A snapshot from Lawrence Shankland. He doesn't quite catch it on this occasion, so no drama as far as Jack Butland is concerned. Here's something you don't see too often. Dundee's Bakayoko has been booked for diving on the halfway line.
Diving?
Usually refs just sort of, I'm not saying they should, but refs just usually just they don't give the free kick and they move on, but when it's in the box perhaps, but there you are, booked. And of course there's now an advantage that Alan Muir's getting it in the neck over from Neil Warnock, the fourth official, and the linesman getting it tight. It was actually a decent enough opening for Hearts when it came to Lawrence Shankland. He did well initially to hold it up and bring others into play. You know, I think everyone is surely now catching up to the fact that he does that very well, Gordon. He's not just a goal scorer.
So yeah, that's a good thing, the positive thing for Hearts just now. Although it's only 1-0, they're still hoping something. I know that everybody just talks about Shankland, but let's be honest, he's been absolutely brilliant. And if you're a manager, you're thinking, right, if we get a chance here at Ibrox, and they won't get a lot of chances, because I pointed out on Thursday night, Rangers' defensive record's been absolutely brilliant since Clement's come in. So when they get the half chance or a chance, they want it to fall to Shankland, and Rangers just need to be careful because he knows where the back of net is.
Well, look at Celtic last weekend. 1-0, and Brendan Rodgers admitted afterwards, I thought might get away with it, which is not the kind of. Not that,
just to be accurate, was he not saying the players thought they would get away with it? I think that's what the line was.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't be in that frame of mind. However, that's what can happen to you. And 1-0 for Rangers is a precarious lead as well, so they have to be careful. The second goal, and if it came before half time for Rangers, you would think would finish the match, but no sign of it coming yet.
I don't want this to descend into Neil Warnock watch, but he's now telling his players to calm down. Having berated the fourth official, the linesman and the ref.
But again,
do as I say, not as I do.
Is he the same age as you?
Oh, he's older than Shug.
Older than you. Can you
1 year older than me?
Imagine standing on a touchline screaming abuse at officials
and just sub them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the officials.
How can you be bothered with that?
How's he going to do that?
Sub his players
because that's his style.
I thought you were supposed to mail on your old age.
The problem for Neil Warnock is that he turns into a song and dance man when they're looking for a serious manager to get some points on the board here.
You know what I like about him? He's got the copas on today.
Is he?
He's got the copas on just to make sure he's got the managerial attire down. Dessers has done it again, a header wide when he had to hit the target, but the flag goes up and saves him again. We've got a second in Dingwall.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's a second for Eamon Brophy for Ross County. Hugh and David Martindale, this is turning into a disastrous afternoon. Not so much for Mark's pal from yesterday.
Well, the only bit of consolation I can offer any Livy fans who might be listening is that you were 2 down to Partick Thistle in the Scottish Cup and scored 3 times and got through. However, having said that, you've got no chance, you're done for.
It's a terrific result so far
checked
for Ross
by
County.
VAR, by the way, that once. So
it stands,
well, not yet.
But if it does, because that's a pressure game. You know, if Ross County had to lose that, all of a sudden Livingston breathing right down their neck. So what a start from Ross County. I just think they had too much firepower. That's why I went for Ross County today.
I'll tell you who has to watch: Craig Levein at St Johnstone, because if St Mirren beat St Johnstone today, Ross County are well on the way to the win over Livy. There would only be 2 points in it between Ross County and St Johnstone.
Goal given, goal stands.
Yeah, so you know, Craig Levein's not out of this relegation dogfight by any means.
Clyde have equalled through Liam Scully and Stenny 1, Clyde 1. There's a Scot who's doing good things in the Championship, Ryan Hardy. He's just scored again for Plymouth, and it's his 13th goal of the season.
Do you know, I
know the way it works, and it's justified. Obviously, the players that got them there and so on. But if our strikers at international level are playing in the Championship, and this guy's got 13 goals, he must be operating at a similar level to them.
I actually liked him. I thought it was the right move to get away from Rangers, get some, you know, regular football and show what you're all about. And he's certainly doing that. He's making a name for himself down there, banging in the goals. So he's playing with a lot of confidence. Scotland squad for the Euros? No, for me.
No, like I say, it's not that I would expect it, Mark, and rightly so. The players that got you there, and they're well versed in the way Steve Clarke goes about it. But just as a loose comparison, that's the level Lyndon Dykes plays at. That's the level Shea Adams plays at domestically. 13 goals for the season for Ryan Hardy.
It's a good argument. If you're him, you're sitting there, I can't do much more. You're right in highlighting that it's the same league. So if I'm out scoring, then surely you're in Steve Clarke's thoughts. That's not to say that you'll get in the squad, but you'll certainly be looking at him. Because listen, who knows, Dykes or Adams might pick up an injury. There's a long way to go between now and the playing in June. So if one of them drop out, you might just look at him. No, you're not having it.
I see Lewis Ferguson's Bologna, captain's Bologna, 4th in Serie A. I think he's on the plane anyway. But
does he get in the starting 11 there?
By the way, he's been absolutely sensational.
Watch a lot of Italian football.
Yeah.
I
like the fact that he's learning the language. His dad told me the other day that he's singing songs in Spanish. That guy is flying high.
He's with his dad now. And by the way, Italian football, get that back on Channel 4. The old Gazette Italian football.
Why are people
on every week.
Why are people in Bologna singing in Spanish?
I can't answer that question. I only got the information. I'm only passing it on. You can take whatever you want out of it. But he's doing absolutely brilliant. His dad was over watching him last weekend, and I know Derek, he's probably his biggest critic, but he was talking very highly of Lewis and the way he's going about his business.
And Bologna will not be his last stop.
No.
You know, there are bigger clubs to come, and I always think of players like Lewis Ferguson who can go to a country, absorb a different culture, language, style of football, everything, and he becomes the captain and becomes a much sought after player in Italy. 10 out of 10.
I know you won't take this serious, Hugh, but I don't know what Mark's thinking of it. It's a one.
What way of setting up a point is that?
No, because I'm serious when I say this. It's the one regret I had in my football career, not going abroad.
Yeah,
you did.
Playing.
You went to Australia. Lasted 2 weeks and came back because you skipped cash.
That was a vacation. That wasn't a vacation. That wasn't to play football.
You
really.
Could barely have been more abroad. You were as far away as can be.
I'm talking about
that
Europe.
That's the definition of an idiot abroad. Programme. You in Australia doing Ramsey Street.
Yeah, with a hat and everything on.
Bit of a wasted opportunity for Hearts. They had a free kick in a dangerous position on the left. George Grant takes it, but a poor effort from him. We said Clyde were gone, and maybe they are, but they're now in front. Stenhousemuir 1, Clyde 2. Quick turnaround there. Stirling Albion 1, Edinburgh City 0.
And remember, that's Stenhousemuir, top of that division, playing Clyde bottom of that division. So
at home.
Well done, Ian McCall, so far.
Well, there are plenty more goals than that.
Penalty, Hibs, Roger Hanna, the game he's watching. Dundee had a VAR review for a penalty earlier. It didn't go their way. This is a ridiculous challenge by Trevor Carson, unfortunately for him. and it does give Hibs a penalty chance.
Who hits the penalties for Hibs?
He drops a corner, he then sort of juggles the ball and wipes the player out in the process. He won't want to see it again. Boyle certainly used to, but I feel like recently,
I'm not confident.
John Reel take one?
John Reel?
Venta is going to take it. Dylan Venta.
Yeah, because lately other teams' penalty kicks have been really poor. St Mirren's last week. Oh, gee, St
Well, in the Scottish Premiership, it is a percentage is very low this season. So let's see what Dylan Vente can do. Yeah, Mandron's was
terrible.
Oh dear.
Honestly,
the best one was Adamida, who just
he's
stood
been
up
okay.
twice and put it away with aplomb.
Oh, do you know who we've angered? Shea Adams. He wasn't happy with all the Ryan Hardy chat, so he's gone and scored for Southampton to level things up against Millwall. A bit of a wait to see what the outcome of this Hibs penalty is. Don't quite know the reason for that, but I'll bring you up to speed. Jordan White's header just wide for Ross County, as well as they look, a third before half time. And then I would really want to be in the dressing room to hear what Davy Martindale has to say. He might have missed a penalty last week.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
We just spoke about it. Mikel Mandron, he's made up for it. No penalty this time. He's put St Mirren in front in the Battle of the Saints. It was a 25-yard strike, deflected in off the post, and St Mirren much happier than they were at the end of last week's game. And the penalty for Hibs.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
1-0 Dylan Vente from the penalty spot. We're ticking along nicely. Start whichever one you wish. You.
I start with St Mirren against St Johnstone. Mandron's goal puts tremendous pressure on Craig Levine, because Ross County are almost home and hosed against Livingston, and now only 2 points between them and St Johnstone, and St Johnstone have to go to Pittodrie midweek. I know that Aberdeen are having, well, let's be honest, a shocking season. But watch out for St Johnstone. They're slipping into dangerous territory.
In some quarters, that goal for St Mirren's gone down as a Dimitar Mitov own goal. Maybe one of those where it came off the post or something. Either way, Mandron will try and claim it. Mitov will try and abandon it, I'm sure, but it's gone in the back of the net and St Mirren lead.
Yeah, good start. Obviously I'm looking down here, the home side. I fancied Hibs today. I thought it was an important day for Hibs, especially Easter Road. Should be a decent crowd in there. They always are. They've got off to that good start. St Mirren, obviously that helps after the anger at Livingston last week before the manager and supporters, so they'll be happy just now. And obviously Rangers win as well. So far my ACA is looking absolutely brilliant.
Still a long way to go, but turning out to be a very bad afternoon. A very good afternoon for Ross County as well. Obviously beating Livingston and seeing St Johnstone trail as well.
Don Cowie, I know Mark, you said you had 10 minutes with him yesterday. He strikes me as one of the cool, calm and collected breed.
Seems that way, Hugh. Seems a very smart guy, very down to earth, and someone that's been there, like I say, a long time behind the scenes as well as a player. So I quite like that he's got his shot up there. Obviously Roy McGregor trusts him, but he's got a big job from now to the end of the season. It's a good start today.
Dundee United are level. Louis Moult, that could be an important one at the tops. Nothing's going to change there, because last I checked, Wraith were still drawing worthy with Ayr United. So as it stands, nothing gained or lost yet. But Louis Moult with the equaliser. Second goal for who though at Ibrox?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 2, Hearts 0. And in a week where we've been discussing the difficulty or otherwise of signing players in January, it's the other one. It's Oscar Cortez on the break, cut across by Tom Lawrence, a curled finish, and Rangers are cruising.
I repeat what I said. When Rangers January signings start banging them in, and there will be a 5-point lead by 5 o'clock tonight, Celtic are entitled, or the Celtic fans are entitled, to look at the chairman's statement and think, no, it isn't that hard in January, not if you're doing your job properly.
Anyway, it's mostly about Rangers. It doesn't always have to come back to the bigger picture.
Cortez looks a good player. I said that within minutes of seeing him. You just see when the way he moves the ball, the way he can go by people. He's positive, gets his reward with a goal this afternoon. That second goal, the all-important goal, Daz was right earlier, the longer it goes 1-0, there's nerves there, but you get the second, and again it's just takes the pressure off your shoulders going into a crucial period. 10 minutes to go to half time, good time to score.
Yeah, I agree with Mark. The minute I seen this lad, I thought, yeah, he's got talent in abundance, and he's certainly shown that. And if you score goals, you become an instant favourite at Ibrox, and that's what's happened to a lad. Their signings have been good. They've hit the ground running. That's the most important thing. And 2-0 up against, everybody spoke about it. This is going to be difficult because Hearts are coming in real good form. They've got Lawrence Shanklin, but Rangers are dominating this game.
In theory, it now gives you the opportunity to look at how convincing can you win this, rather than being worried that it's only one and maybe Hearts can catch you out and make it really nervy. Like, there's still time. I mean, you never know. You never say never. But it's been very comfortable, hasn't it?
Yeah, and we get calls on Tuesday and Thursday from Rangers supporters saying it's a matter of time before we give somebody a real doing. I've never imagined that there'd been an informed Hearts, and this could, if they can get another one before half time.
Oh yeah,
Hearts are in real trouble, because we've all been there, we've all been at Ibrox, and if Rangers are on it and creating chances, then it's a long afternoon.
If you listen carefully, you can hear the sound of a bubble bursting. There's no way that Hearts come back from this.
That's not a burst bubble though, is it? Still absolutely flying, third place pretty much nailed on, first defeat in 13 games.
It is, if you can't think of anything else to say.
You've got high standards. The only team that's having a more convincing afternoon's Aston Villa, 3 up on Nottingham Forest, and I don't even think John McGinn's got in on the act yet. Craig Levein and Andy Kirk, they've got their head in their hands at how bad St Johnstone's passing has been. That's never a good sign.
No, especially when both assistant manager and manager are displaying their disgust at their own team. So that's a big half-time team talk. I think Levein will be standing there thinking, just get in at 1-0, then I'll try and tweak one or two things, try and get onto the players, try and get a reaction off them and see what the second half brings. But just listening to that, it's not very good if you're a St Johnstone fan.
Who do you think would be favourites for that 11th spot now? I think St Johnstone. I think you're right, Hugh. I think St Johnstone
slipping.
I know you go by results.
Tell you what, Motherwell are getting pulled in as well.
Yeah, I'd rather not comment on at the moment.
Oh, so you are.
Yeah,
it's just round the corner.
Celtic tomorrow.
You beat Celtic tomorrow, then it's.
We'll be in the top 6.
Okay.
Look, I still think that. I think Livingston are a goner, right? I don't care if they're only 3 points off just now. That's got to change this afternoon. But I still think St Johnstone may just have enough.
I'm not sure.
I think Ross County have better players than St Johnstone.
I think top half of the pitch, I think Ross County can get goals, obviously, because I like Brophy. Jordan White's a handful, and Murray is a worker and can score goals, so they've got that. But
Danda,
don't forget Danda. I don't forget Danda, free kick specialist. So they certainly have got attacking style, but I just think that St Johnstone with their pitch will get enough.
Let's finish this off, Hugh, shall we?
Of course.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The 5 players who moved directly between Motherwell and Celtic on a permanent basis since 2005 and who made first team appearances for both clubs are Scott McDonald, Paul Slane, Jim O'Brien, David Turnbull and Joe Chalmers.
Brilliant, well done if you got them right, Gordon Dalziel. There is no way you got Joe Chalmers. That must have been Mark Wilson's shout.
No, Gordon Dalziel did get that, but we didn't get them all.
Not
actually
having that
Thank
at
you.
all.
Jim O'Brien we didn't get. You put Shaw.
Permanent basis.
Right, okay.
That's his answer.
Hopeless. Well done if you got it right, and lots of you did. Once again, showing that lots of you are better at listening than Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel. But the podium looks like this. In third place, it was Tambo. Second place, Maxi. I'm liking these short 2-syllable names for me to work through. James Milne in first place as well, incidentally. Well done to you, James. You are the winner. And we'll have a Who Am I a bit later on. John Souttar's gone into the book against his former club, the Rangers defender, with the yellow card, but Rangers still looking comfortable as we edge towards the end of the first half. Still no goals between Kilmarnock and Aberdeen. That's the only goalless game. St Mirren leads St Johnstone by a Mikel Mandron, or potentially Dimitar Mitov, own goal to 0. Hibs 1-0 up against Dundee thanks to Dylan Vente penalty. Ross County 2 up, an Eamon Brophy double, meaning a tough afternoon for Livingston.
David Friel needs this Ross County result because he was the one who said St Johnstone were going down, and then when things looked to be picking up, he doubled down on it and said they were definitely going down. So he needs St Johnstone to stumble as they are at the moment.
That's still a long way to go, yeah. But I do fancy St Mirren this afternoon. But you've got to say that that'd be a big 3 points for St Mirren as well. The one that obviously we're looking at, Aberdeen, Hibs, Dundee for a top 6 just now. You would probably put it between those three. Dundee losing at Hibs, Aberdeen still 0-0 at Kilmarnock. So a lot of football to be played, and Hibs winning
for a change.
Craig Johnson of Kelty sent off on 45 minutes, just desperate to get into the dressing room before everyone else. 1 minute added for Fraser Wishart at the Battle of the Saints in Paisley. 4 added for David Friel at Kilmarnock against Aberdeen. So we're at that stage of a Saturday. We're about to go back around the grounds and see what the first half has looked like from the eyewitnesses who are out there. Certainly will be a happy home crowd, you would imagine, at Ibrox. There they go, Dundee United have turned it round. It's 2-1 at Tannadice. Jordan Tilson, as we always say, great time to score. And all of a sudden the Wraith Rovers fans keeping an eye on that. And we said earlier he sometimes needs a few chances, but eventually
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 3 up and cruising, and it's Cyril Dessers. It was a great ball in from Yilmaz. He's been really impressive this afternoon, and a nice little volley from Cyril Dessers, just 6 yards out. And if it was already going to be an easy team talk for Philippe Clement, it just got easier. We've not reached half time yet, and it's Rangers 3, Hearts 0.
Hearts bubble has burst.
Well, the look of a statement result incoming from Rangers, because on paper a home fixture against the informed Hearts team, followed by Kilmarnock away, were 2 tricky games. Made this one look easy.
Half time, Paisley, Fraser.
Yeah, half time, St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0. A 1 goal lead doesn't really reflect how dominant St Mirren have been. The game has been played almost exclusively in St Johnstone half, and the St Mirren goal came in 36 minutes when a man-drawn shot hit the post and maybe Dimitar Mitov and into the back of the net. But St Mirren won't care, their fans, because that was the goal their play deserved. They just started really well. St Mirren, they pushed St Johnstone back from the kick-off. Killen Boyne Munce had an early load shot saved by Dimitar Mitov. St Johnstone making too many mistakes on the ball. St Mirren pressing really well to turn the ball over and then just attack on St Johnstone goal. Boyne Munce was really prominent. He then chose the wrong option. He burst through from the midfield from a loose Liam Gordon pass, and he shot rather than pass to Kilty, who had a better opportunity. St Mirren tempo dropped a bit around 20 minutes, still on top, unable to get past the St Johnstone back three, create a clear chance. But St Johnstone, as expected, keeping it tight, trying to hit in the break, but not even an effort at goal in the first half at all. And St Mirren just kept winning the ball and setting up attack after attack. Boyd once again tested Mitov, 25-yard free kick, bounced in front of the keeper, but saved comfortably. Then 36 minutes, the deserved lead for St Mirren. A really nice move, couple of nice touches with Bolton and Jimison. Ended up with Mandron on the loose ball, 25 yards out. He drilled a low shot, it took a slight deflection, but one of those deflections that made the ball spin really awkwardly, and the ball hit the post, and then I think maybe Dimitar Mitov before going into the back of the net. Craig Levein and Andy Kirk so unhappy at the side of the park at his team time and time again, giving the ball away. And Wowo was next to try his luck at the back post with a header from a Greg Kilty cross, but it looked just over the bar. St Mirren wanted second to give them some comfort, but St Johnstone was so far off it. I wouldn't be surprised if Craig Levein made a couple of changes at the break. Half time here, St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0.
There was a VAR check on that Dessers goal, but it stands. It was actually John Suter with the cross. My apologies. John Suter with the assist. Really well timed run from Cyril Dessers. And we've said that the goals total is actually pretty good. It's a really composed finish. Looked like a really confident, composed striker getting his goal this afternoon. And if we're talking about good time to score,
goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
How's your half-time team talk now, Neil Warnock? Because it's Kilmarnock 1, Aberdeen 0, and it's Corey Indaba with the header, Danny Armstrong with the corner, and there was the full-back who nodded the ball into the back of the net, and that changes everything heading into the break. I thought we were about to blow the half-time whistle there, but just before it goes, Kilmarnock take the lead. So a few late goals being added, and I don't suppose Neil Warnock will take that one too well, Hugh.
And neither will the Aberdeen fans. You know, they were tolerant of the appointment of Neil Warnock, but you have to accompany that with results.
Tough place to go, of course. It is half time at Easter Road. Roger Hannah.
Half time, Gordon. Hibs 1, Dundee 0. And I'll help you out right now. On Monday evening, when you start looking at your howler of the weekend, we can start and finish the argument with poor old Trevor Carson. What a disaster for the Dundee goalkeeper. No threat at all. A routine corner after 34 minutes. He came off his line to clutch it. He somehow dropped the ball. He then had a slap and a juggle at the ball. Then when he feared he was going to lose it to Emiliano Marcondes, he just cleaned him out. And by that stage, he'd run about 14 yards off his line. It was an absolute disaster, as I say, for Carson. Full punishment exacted by Hibs. Dylan Venter sending him the wrong way with the spot kick to open the score. And it was harsh on Dundee. They started brightly. They might have had a penalty themselves inside 3 minutes. The play was halted by referee John Beaton, and it was a VAR check for a handball on the edge of the box before they decided to wave play on. Amadou Bakayoko was leading the Dundee line and causing problems, but he was booked for a ridiculous dive on the halfway line under the challenge of Nathan Mariah Welsh. After that, Hibs began to pick up and come into the game. Will Fisher a header from a Marcondes corner after 31 minutes. It was straight at Carson. Then Carson's personal catastrophe 3 minutes later as he wiped out Marcondes for the penalty kick which Venter scored, and that let Hibs really take off the shackles and had their best spell of the game just before the break. Carson making excellent saves from both Dylan Venter and Mizian Maolida before Marcondes had a shot deflected inches wide. That mistake by Carson really has set Dundee back. You'd fancy Hibs to go on and win it and close the gap in the top 6 to just 2 points. At the break, it's Hibs 1, Dundee 0.
Half time at Ibrox. Gabriel.
Yeah, half time, it is Rangers 3, Hearts 0, and Rangers are heading 5 points clear at the top of the league. Mohamed Diamande's strike from the edge of the box just 90 seconds in gave them the lead before Oscar Cortez curled effort, doubled it. Cyril Dessers put the game out of sight on the stroke of half time. Now, all started with Cortez, who's looked lively and very skillful all game so far. He passed the ball inside to his new teammate Diomande, who's already scored, and he did it again. Dragged the ball onto his left foot, a low strike outside the box into the bottom corner. Two of their January signings linking up, exactly what Philippe Clement wants from his team, and this already excited atmosphere became electric. We shall not be moved, belting around Ibrox. They were playing with purpose and they stunned the visitors, who really couldn't get anything going early on. Dessers ran through from the halfway line, showing his newfound confidence really. He cut in, had a shot saved, but it just showed Rangers playing full of belief. The game became a bit more end-to-end than Gordon Hearts growing into it a bit, had possession in Rangers' third, but no real clear-cut chances for them or their striker and captain Lawrence Shankland. Then the Cortez goal in the 37th minute took the sting out of the game. Breaking forward, Tom Lawrence from the right put the ball along the edge of the box. Dessers stepped past it, Cortez took it on the run, lovely curl into the far corner, and then just before the interval, John Suter with a brilliant ball into the box. Dessers, after missing a couple of chances he should have scored, a neat little volley into the back of the net, the far post. It's damage limitation for Hearts now, Gordon, and spearheaded by their 2 January signings, Rangers are heading 5 points clear at the top of the table. We're going to win the league is ringing around Ibrox here at the break. The bouncy in full flow. Half time, Rangers 3, Hearts 0.
Half time in Dingwall, Dave Galloway.
Half time, Ross County 2, Livingston 0. County's George Wickens, the first to be tested, looking lively to parry Jamie Brandon's driven cross, but Victor Luturi's pile driver from distance at the other end was touched over by Shamal George. And the hosts took a deserved 21st minute lead. Livy's Mo Sangari slipped up, Eamon Brophy pounced on it straight away, strode forward confidently and tucked the ball into the net. 5 minutes later, no surprise, it was 2-0, and it was Brophy again with an absolutely superb strike. Simon Murray picked him out very nicely, and he showed really good composure, allowing the ball to bounce before hammering home into the top corner from a tight angle. However, Mo Sangari nearly cut the deficit with a long-range effort that George Wickens just kept out with a brilliant fingertip save. The home side thoroughly deserved their interval lead, and a huge task lies ahead for Livy if they are to stop the Staggies going 6 points ahead of them at the bottom end of the table. At half-time, Ross County 2, Livingston 0.
And that's the half-time whistle starting to go pretty much everywhere. What about Rugby Park? A dramatic end to the first half there, David.
Yeah, very dramatic. Gordon half-time, Kilmarnock 1, Aberdeen 0. I'm tired just watching Neil Warnock. He spent the first half moaning at the fourth official Alan Muir on the touchline. To be perfectly honest, the Aberdeen manager would be better served moaning at his players. Kelly being well on top. They took a deserved lead on the stroke of half-time. They've had the bulk of the pressure, most of the chances, and they found the opener when Corey and Daba headed in. The only real surprise was it took that long. Kyle Vassell almost made it 1-0 in 5 minutes. Marley Watkins flicked on. Vassell's shot was deflected past Kelrus but hit the post and bounced out. Aberdeen a couple of chances. Dante Bolvara, Jamie McGrath, but nothing really. Kelly just kept creating chances. Danny Armstrong's corner was met with Stuart Finlay 25 minutes, but Jamie McGrath cleared off the line. Then Marley Watkins absolutely bullied the Aberdeen defence. He was through in Kelrus, but his close range volley was saved. Then finally, in first half injury time, Kelly got that opener. Danny Armstrong's cross was perfect. Corey Ndaba, right place at right time. He headed in from close range. Neil Warnock being so animated, they finally got booked after that goal. It was coming. Graham Granger eventually produced a yellow card. But he needs to focus on his team. He needs to get so much more out of him in the second half. Bojan Miovski's barely touched the ball, and Kelly, they'll feel there's a lot more goals in this. Half time, Kilmarnock 1, Aberdeen 0.
And we'll do a full roundup of the half time scores next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
The half-time whistles have gone up and down the country, so let me give you a rundown of the scores at the break then. Certainly in the 3 o'clock games, it's Hibs 1, Dundee 0, Kilmarnock 1, Aberdeen 0, Rangers 3, Hearts 0, and Ross County 2, Livingston 0, St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0. In the Championship, goalless are both Inverness. Ayr United 1, Raith Rovers 2, Dundee United 2, Queen's Park 1, Morton 2, Airdrie 0. In League 1 then, it's Cove Rangers 1, Annan Athletic 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Alloa 0, Kelty Hearts 0, Falkirk 1, and Stirling Albion 1, Edinburgh City 0. In League 2, Dumbarton 2, Stranraer 1, East Fife 0, Forfar 1, Peterhead 1, Elgin 1, Stenhousemuir 1, Clyde 2, and the Spartans 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. The English Premier League, it is Villa 3, Forest 1, Brighton 0, Everton 0, Crystal Palace 0, Burnley 0, Man United 0, Fulham 0. We'll get the second halves up and running next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Still half time around the country, some of the games starting to get back underway, but let's go back to Ibrox where Rangers lead Hearts 3-0. Does this feel, in terms of atmosphere, Gabriel, like the Rangers fans believe this is a bit of a statement result in the making?
Yeah, it certainly does, Gordon. As I was saying before the interval, we're going to win the league. Ring around Ibrox to Bouncy. All 4 stands here at Ibrox. And I said it was expectant but excited before kick-off. And then as soon as they went 1-0 up after 90 seconds, you could just sense not only the relief but the belief around the stadium. They really believe that they can become champions. They're 5 points clear, something that no one here would have expected when Philippe Clement came in October. But a massive statement victory. As we all know, Hearts have won 8 games in a row and they're 3-0 down at half-time. Damage limitation for them in the second period.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon, would you expect, we've been saying in the last couple of days that you can't criticise Rangers, they've turned around the 7-point deficit at the top of the league, but if there was one little thing missing, maybe it was that real convincing big scoreline, and to do it potentially in the making against the third best team clearly in the country, it would be some statement, wouldn't it?
It'd be an absolute brilliant statement, I've got to say. We had fans, Rangers fans on this programme talking about we're going to give somebody a doing, and it looks like it's Hearts this afternoon.
Are Hearts going to change things up, Gabriel, to try and hang in this?
Yeah, they are, Gordon. Looks like it's going to be a change of formation as well. Kai Rolls has come off, Alan Forrest coming on, perhaps a 4-3-3, 4 at the back, Forrest and Vargas on the wings with Shanklin through the middle. We'll just have to wait to see how they line up. As you can hear, the applause is for the Rangers team returning to the field, just checking if there's any changes for the host. They look like they're going to be all the same. Yet Red Van Yilmaz, last player out on the pitch, so it's the same 11 for Rangers. 3-0 at the interval. Big second half coming up, a big statement victory for Rangers. The score now is by how many?
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get the help you need to quit with the smoking cessation programme.
Yeah, 3 very good goals scored by Rangers on top of everything else, and they've missed chances. It could easily, by half time, have been 4 or 5. And the summertime signings, or the January signings, have really come to the fore.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
I had a feeling David Martindale's team talk would be something to behold. They've pulled one back already. Bruce Anderson, ruck of players, he smashes it through them. There is a VAR check for a possible offside, but as things stand, it looks like Livy have pulled one back. So we'll have
Partick
a
Thistle
wait and
all over
see.
again.
Yeah. I love when when anything significant happens at the start of a second half, because I just wonder what the conversation was. I'm thinking particularly Edinburgh City. They're done and dusty. They're all over the place as a club. You're thinking, right lads, go out there in the second half and don't do anything daft, and Frankie Dean gets sent off a minute into the second half. However, result of the day, I know we tend to focus on the top flight, but you would have to say it's top v bottom in League 2, and bottom away, Clyde, are beating Stenhousemuir by 3-1.
Well done Ian McCall. I'm looking forward to seeing him on his wedding day.
He's getting married again.
Yeah, Colley's getting married. Yeah,
Congratulations.
Lovely woman.
Well, he wouldn't marry somebody he didn't like, would he?
No, I'm just telling you she's a lovely woman. But that's a terrific result. He's still 8 points away from the second bottom team, so it's still a mighty fight in his hands. But remember, this is Clyde bottom team beating Stenhousemuir 3-1. Stenhousemuir, the top team in the division.
Still no news of the outcome of that VAR check for Bruce Anderson's goal. I don't know if good news is if no news is good or bad news. Sometimes the longer it takes, you wonder what it is they're trying to clear up. But anyway, we think it's Ross County 2, Livingston 1. Bruce Anderson with the goal, unless something changes in the next couple of minutes. Sometimes when it does go through that ruck of bodies, there are a few considerations. Who takes a touch? Did it take a touch? Is someone in the line of sight of the goalkeeper? It stands. There we go. Ross County 2, Livy 1. It is game on, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll tell you, you're right. I think sometimes managers earn their corn at half time. You know, getting that dressing room door closed, few strong words, looking for a reaction. He's certainly got it, but can he get the equaliser and put real pressure on Ross County?
Well, Jordan White still to score his compulsory goal for Ross County, so it'll be 3-1 in the end.
Kennedy free kick saved by Roos. Rangers are not hanging about.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And all of a sudden we're on a Cyril Dessers hat-trick. He's got his second of the afternoon. It was a ball bouncing around, a mess for Hearts, and Cyril Dessers slams it into the back of the net. We are looking at a very big scoreline in the making, because we're just into the second half. Dessers has 2. The 2 new signings have got 1 each, and Rangers lead Hearts by 4-0.
Well, if you arrive at Ibrox on an 8-game winning run, 8 wins in a row, you can still be embarrassed. And at the moment, this is an embarrassment for Hearts, and the embarrassment can only get worse. So Rangers go 5 points clear, and in the most thrilling fashion for the Rangers supporters at Ibrox. And with each passing goal, it puts more and more pressure on Celtic tomorrow, because the fans are looking at this. They're unhappy with the financial situation at the club. They're unhappy with what the chairman's had to say about that. They're unhappy with just about everything about Celtic at the moment. Manager.
There is a VAR check on this. It's a handball check for Cyril Dessers' goal. I think it was probably before the ball fell to him.
You wonder,
which does change things slightly. Obviously, if the goal goes in off the hand at all, then it would be disallowed. But if it's in the build-up, then it's a slightly different test that would be applied.
Even if they do chalk it off, they're still 3 up, and they're still playing it in a fashion and scoring goals in a fashion that is thrilling for the supporters. And they are looking at this man Clement and wondering how far he can take this club.
Timing's everything, Hugh, because we're looking at Rangers' next 2 games. They're so important. Hearts in form, come to Ibrox.
Yeah.
That'll be difficult. They're cruising, and then they go to Rugby Park. The way they're playing, I know Rugby Park's a difficult place, but I can't see Kilmarnock stopping them either.
Yeah, goal stands. So it was Cyril Dessers that they were checking it for, but the ball, he kind of brings it down. His both hands are kind of in, or by all accounts by his side. It's hard to tell really, but it then falls to Tom Lawrence, then comes back to Dessers, and the goal goes in. But it's 4-0. That's a fact now. And what an afternoon this is, Mark.
I wonder with Cyril Dessers when it's time that the jokes and the quips stop. What about him now? Because okay, he misses a lot of chances, but he's still in the positions and he's converting almost every week now. So he's certainly leading the line well for Rangers. You look at Cholak, when he left, he had a good goal return, didn't really contribute much in open play, but still put the ball in the back of the net. Dessers continues this. Who cares if his link-up play isn't good? Who cares if he's clumsy? Who cares if he misses chances?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we've been saying for weeks it's more about because most of it comes from the Rangers fans, and most of it clearly is the eye test. The numbers have had nothing wrong with them for quite a while now, and in fact they're particularly good now. That's him up to 12 for the season, joins Tavernier, one behind Miovski. That's in the league. That's the league alone. He's up to 16 in all competition. So for a long time now there's been nothing wrong with the numbers. And the good thing for him is maybe it does take him a few chances to get his goals, but Rangers are clearly creating them and he's clearly getting into those areas.
I wouldn't be bothered if I'm missing a couple of chances because he's finding the back in it. For me, he's now becoming the Rangers number 9. He's becoming a real threat. He's becoming a fan's favourite. I'll bet you any money in that. He's keeping Silva out the team this afternoon in a massive game, so Clermont must think very highly, and he's paying him back.
For all of those who still keep phoning and say, I think we still needed to sign a number 9 in January, just maybe Dessers is the man. And Kemar Roof's on the bench today, incidentally. 4-1 Clyde away at Stenhousemuir. Hugh, let's do this while we can.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Jigsaw at the ready, Dazzler. Have played alongside Chris Martin and Neil Lennon. I have been managed by Alex Neil and Darren Ferguson. Throughout my career, I won promotion 5 times, including 2 Premier League promotions. Who am I? Played alongside Chris Martin and Neil Lennon. Managed by Alex Neil and Darren Ferguson. Throughout my career, I won promotion 5 times, including 2 Premier League promotions. Who am I?
That's really tough. I always say that, and Gordon Dalziel and all the brain boxes out there listening tend to get it, but I feel like there's not loads of detail in terms of narrowing that right down. So have a guess at Clyde SSB, throw a tweet in, throw a name, and see if you can hit the bullseye. Gordon Dalziel, as frustrating as it is, usually gets it right, so we'll see what he can come up with here at Clyde SSB on the Who Am I. Any ideas so far? Are your spidey senses tingling?
I'm all over it.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm all start engine. I'm all over it.
Give us a name.
Right.
Got it already?
Yeah, I'm all over it.
Write it down then.
The suspense.
I know he's good, but that's quick for you. That's quick.
He's got it.
I'm all over that.
Sensational.
Honestly, give me a round of applause.
Too easy.
Thank you, Hugh. You appreciate talent when
maybe you're back cheating after going off it for a couple of weeks.
How could I cheat? Tell me how it's possible to cheat when you have done everything in your powers.
Anyway, right, whatever. Well done.
Cheaters always win.
At Clyde SSB, get your tweets in. There's a new signing scoring for Stirling Albion, Josh McPake. Rangers fans might remember the name. He's scored to put Stirling 2-0 up against Edinburgh City, who are down to 10 men. Liam Polworth's gone through at Rugby Park, but a good save from Kellerus. It was a good break actually from Kilmarnock, but doesn't come to anything. Biggest margin so far by a distance is Rangers 4-0 up against Hearts, and other than that, fairly tight. It looked like Ross County would be comfortable, but Livy have pulled one back, 2-1 there. Kilmarnock 1 up against Aberdeen, St Mirren 1 up against St Johnstone, and Hibs 1 up against Dundee. So lots to play for in the second 45. Clearly a question of how many at Ibrox rather than the outcome of the game, you would have to say.
The one thing about Clement, he will insist that there's no let up in the intensity, so there's still a possibility of Hearts suffering a 5 or a 6 here, because this man is a machine and he insists that his players are machines as well. So long afternoon hardly covers it if you're Hearts.
I see the way Rangers play now under Clement, you can visibly see the difference. Not just results, how quickly the ball speed is, how quickly they go forward. And that was a problem under Michael Beale's team. There was no like cohesion, there was no real patterns of play or anything. But this Rangers side under a serious manager, you can see what the work on being put into practice on the pitch, and it's getting results and it's creating a lot of chances.
Do you know what's impressive for me? Everybody talks middle to front. I think defensively he's got them working as a brilliant unit. I really do. They don't lose a lot of goals.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hibs 2, Dundee 0, and it's Dylan Vente again. It's a tap in from a Martin Boyle cross, and that is the type of start to the second half that Hibs were looking for. Dylan Vente, he hasn't scored as many as he or the Hibs fans would have liked since arriving for big money, but he's got 2 already, and Hibs now looking a lot more comfortable.
Well, £700,000 is a lot by Hibs standards, and that's what they paid for Dylan Vente. He needed the goals. Mick Montgomery needed a convincing win. He's not over the line yet, but he'll take 2 goals for a start any day. So big afternoon for Montgomery and Vente. That's all going
this
their
will be
way.
an interesting.
The worries there.
This will be an interesting half an hour, 40 minutes.
The 2-2 is written all over that.
See if he's learned their lesson. Not just him as a manager, but it's the players on the pitch. If they learn their lesson, talk about game management all the time with players and how they see things out. It's the Hibs players on the pitch that have relinquished so many leads and found themselves in trouble when they've been ahead. So big period this for the Hibs players. They should be able to see it out, but you just never know. Dundee have got goal scorers on their side.
And Philippe Clement, when asked yesterday what was the key going to be to keeping this up and going into European competition again, he said continuing with the rotation that we have been doing, and that's exactly what we're seeing again. Ross McCausland and Fabio Silva coming on, and it is Dujon Sterling and Tom Lawrence going off. It's been a real feature of Rangers in recent weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, rotation in the squad, and everyone you've got to say is playing their part, Gordon. They're all part of it. I don't think even the guys that are getting left out are that disappointed. They know that they're part of a good squad. They know the way the manager operates.
That Dylan Vente goal does not stand offside. Take it back. It might finish 2-2, but just not the way that you think. So it's 1-0 to Hibs at the moment. We do have one of these though.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
See, Neil Warnock had Matty Kennedy as a kid at Cardiff. He said he's come back to bite him. Matty Kennedy making it 2-0 to Kilmarnock. Great play from Vassell, a good finish, and it's Kilmarnock that are looking comfortable now against Aberdeen.
Well, Neil Warnock was brought in to hold the fort until Aberdeen get a permanent manager. However, there are ways of holding the fort, and it's an embarrassment for Aberdeen to be as bad as they are, to be still in a position where they've only won 6 league games the whole season long. An absolute embarrassment for them. All the talk of mucking nettles and this and that, all the good quotes about put it in the stand, they can't score from there, that's all you're getting, sound bites. You're not getting points.
It was either got to go a success or a failure for me, Hugh. I wasn't going to go in the middle. I don't think it was either one or the other. No middle.
What does in the middle look
no
like?
middle. Well, he could have won a few, got a good run in the cup, blah blah blah. But
might still win the cup.
There's absolutely no chance he'll win the cup. No chance.
No.
It's just a circus around him. The press and the media love it and listening to him. He come up here, he praised the referees one week, and then all of a sudden he's slaughtering the referees. And
see, to be fair, you are then doing that in a roundabout way in making it all about Neil Warnock, because this is a bad team. That's why he's here. So they were bad before, and he's not managed to really improve them yet. But that's maybe not a huge surprise, because they because they were bad before.
Yeah, Rangers weren't great before Clement come in.
But what I'm saying is they perhaps have just stayed at the same level, so he's not had the impact. But we're then making it all about a failure from Neil Warnock. At what point does this group of players take responsibility?
Well, what was the point of going and bring them up with that great experience? The guy that obviously he's got such a fantastic CV of saving teams and promotions. If you know that he ain't going to he's not got to improve you. I
don't think they know that he's not going to improve you, but the point I'm making is, right, if this is, it can't all be about Neil Warnock, because the last group of players got the group of players got the last manager sacked.
But managers can come in and improve players and teams,
but it's not guaranteed, obviously.
Well, obviously Neil Warnock's not doing it, but you talk about, well, they weren't that great a team. Look at Rangers. Clement's come in and changed about What, the system,
And
the players,
all you're telling
everything
me
about
is that
them.
it's possible for a manager.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what's the common denominator in Barry Robson's failure and up until this point Neil Warnock's failure? What's the common denominator?
Bad players.
Thank you.
That you cannot improve.
Didn't say you can't, but
Right,
it's the, do you know, I don't mean to patronise and start talking about what common denominator means, but at
Right.
some point they'll need to take the blame.
I think the manager will need to take blame as well. I think he's got good players at his disposal. That's my opinion here. Whether you agree with it or not, I'm not really interested. But I think he's got good players at his disposal that he could turn round, tweak one or two things, and get a tune out of them. My observation of it is he's not getting a tune out of them.
Neither was Barry Robson, neither was
It
the guy
doesn't
before.
matter. Well, so the next manager with that squad ain't going to get a tune out of them either. So
Well, at
what's the
some
point
point-
of changing their manager?
At some point it needs to be a collective effort, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's possible, especially with his experience. That's why the high-profile manager get brought in.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to get me saying he has been good, because of course he hasn't. But I just wonder, like, we always do this. If a same group of players keeps failing, why do they always get off with it? Why is it always the manager?
Listen,
I don't really
I'm
care
the-
whether it's Neil Warnock or anyone else.
I'm the first to ever go at players.
Doesn't sound like it.
Yes,
Sound like
because,
you're desperate to not on this
because
occasion.
I think that I stuck up for Brendan Rodgers last week when I was talking about.
So
okay,
you don't like Neil Warnock,
Bre-
really, is what you mean?
No, I'm not saying. I just don't think he's. I think he's come in with a circus round about him that certainly hasn't worked.
I guarantee you one thing: there'll be magnificent quotes after the game from Neil Warnock, and it all deflects away from nothing happening on the park. So the run into the Championship could be an embarrassing one for Aberdeen if they can't lift themselves above this.
Eric Ten Hag might be getting a bit of stick. Fulham 1 up at Old Trafford. It's Calvin Bassey, remember him? He's put Fulham 1 up there. And what a game that's turning out to be. Villa 4, Nottingham Forest 2. Double change for Hearts. Beningame and Vargas off, Tagawa and Devlin on. How are you feeling getting sent on at 4-0 down at Ibrox? You trying to avoid the manager's eye?
I don't know what you'd be thinking.
a game
Sent on 4-0 down. I don't think so. No, and I wouldn't thank you for it. You know, I would just do my usual. What you think of me? I would just try and get fitness at it. Just run a bit.
See if I could beat. I'd go and move my watch and see if I could beat my.
By the way, I
PB.
would. I'd say, Gaffer, can I put on my Apple Watch here just to try and get at least a couple of K in?
A couple of steps in. I need to get my 10,000 steps in.
4-0. I mean, the disappointing thing for Stephen Naismith is, of course, he's 3-0 down, but he makes changes to the system at half time, and you lose a goal within minutes. So that goes out the window. And now it is just a matter of how many. I mean, the amount of chances again Rangers are creating against a team who have been playing really well is impressive. And if they can continue to do that to the end of the season, then it's only going to end in one way for them.
And last I checked, it might have gone up now, to be fair, but last I checked, there wasn't much in the possession, which shows how efficient Rangers are being.
And
it's
that's,
not like
that's
it's
the point.
it's not like the ball's constantly there, but every time they get it, it's like they're making something happen.
Yeah, look, I love watching teams with loads of possession. You know, in Man Cities and so on and so forth, that are great in control of the ball and they put players into positions to control the midfield. But the best teams have all got a purpose to it, and it's a speeded forward pass. And I think that's the real difference with Clement's side. Forward passes and the old cliche, the old line through the lines, you know, into their most dangerous players is what this Rangers team have got at the minute.
Ooh, got another one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And St Mirren have doubled their advantage. It's definitely Mikel Mandron this time. A 12-yard volley. St Johnson's defence couldn't clear the cross from Scott Tanzer, and it's the Paisley Saints who have control in that one.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Craig Levein came out after the losing to Dundee at Dens Park and apologised to the St Johnson fans for the poverty of the performance. He'll be doing the same today, and he is slipping. St Johnstone are slipping. Ross County just need to hold on to their advantage, and they'll be 2 points behind St Johnstone. St Johnstone going to Aberdeen, where surely Neil Warnock can atone for what's happening today. So difficult end to the season for Craig Levein.
And they play Aberdeen midweek.
Yeah.
Two grumpy managers who can't get a tune out of their team meeting, so we'll see how that one goes.
Is he still cutting a bit with the cream?
Nah,
Has he binned them?
He needs to get them back. He needs to get the lucky cords
with the old farmers kind of outfit. They were doing okay.
Geography teacher.
Surely now, even the most pessimistic Falkirk fans are starting to sense it, because the Ackies are losing against Alloa, so that would stretch the lead at the top even further. Last I checked, Falkirk were leading
14 points
before today.
14 points at the kick-off time today, so it'll be 17 now.
If it stays that way, of course, but that's as the second half is wearing on. Rangers cruising, as we said. The question of how many. I think St Mirren clearly looking pretty comfortable. Maybe keep an eye on Livy. Came back from 2-0 down to win in the cup, didn't they?
Yep.
They were 2-0 down, pulled one back. Maybe, just maybe, Rangers are not stopping at all.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And Silva gets in on the act. He was slipped through a left-footed finish. There's a swagger about Rangers. Hearts are gone, and then some. And it's Rangers 5, Hearts 0.
And plenty of time to go for 6 and 7. Tonight you would have to say there's one team charging towards the league title, and it's Rangers.
Rangers beat Dundee 5-0 earlier in the season away from home. Now that's been their biggest victory so far, so they've matched that and the chance to add to it.
Yeah, they've been absolutely dynamite today, you've got to say. Stephen Naismith could be at 5 o'clock joining Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel in the 7 Club if this continues. Look, fans have been confident this day was coming. I didn't think it was going to be Hearts, but they've been absolutely sensational, and everyone getting in the act now.
Fabio Silva 65 gone and 5-0 up. Absolutely cruising, Mark.
Just always makes it better when you make changes as well, and it's one of your front men who you brought to the club again just round about the January window, who gets in the act. Everything going in the right direction for Clement. Decision making in his first 11 repaid by Dessers, the faith he shows in him. When he chooses to change it, the subs are coming on and playing a part in everything positive. And a football club's a good place to be when things like that are going in your favour. So all rosy at Ibrox at the minute. They've ticked this one off. They need to tick the one off midweek, and then it'll be
plus the fact it wasn't that long ago goal difference was getting spoken about.
Yeah.
They're battered 5 in already today.
Yeah, so the goal comfortable, not comfortable, but a goal difference lead as well as a points lead now. Can't believe they're being outdone by Clyde, who are 6-1 up at Stenhousemuir, bottom of League 2.
That is utterly astonishing.
I don't think that'll quite get the headlines, to be fair, of the result at Ibrox, but you never know. Rangers have time to add to it, and
I think for Hearts now, I better start off by saying Rangers have been dominant with a capital D. They have scored wonderful goals, and they look as if they've got at least another couple in them before this finishes. But for Hearts, this is an embarrassment. That 8 wins on the bounce, and then you go there and you have a performance like that. But this is the way it is with Rangers now. I just think that Rangers are carrying all before them, and I can't see anyone beat them.
Hearts have hit the post. There we go. That's as close as we come. A Lawrence Shankland header. It wouldn't have really made much difference, you'd have to say. We're definitely in consolation territory. Is that even a consolation? But there we go. Still a long way to go in that one. Remind us of the teaser, please, Hugh.
Yeah. I have played alongside Chris Martin and Neil Lennon. I have been managed by Alex Neil and Darren Ferguson. Throughout my career, I won promotion 5 times, including 2 Premier League promotions. Remember, the Premier Leagues in England, the Premierships in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I?
Good question, really good. Gordon Dalziel somehow got it straight away, but it's proving a bit more difficult for you out there. Let me give you some wrong answers to help you along the way. Craig Casement thinks Graham Alexander.
No.
Stephen Lauder thinks Graham Dorrans.
Nope.
Oh, see, this is when you know it's good, because there's a wide range of wrong answers here. Scott Wright thinks George Boyd.
George Boyd.
I remember him.
Played with Forest.
Stuart Brody thinks it might be Callum Davidson.
No.
And Ewan Mack wants to throw in David Nugent.
No.
Okay. Keep them coming.
I'd like to know your workings about that.
Well, we'll find out after.
Get that, yeah, you can't.
Well,
you can't
boys,
get away.
I feel there's a bit of mistrust between you guys.
Just to speed it up.
I was right on that. I was right on that. That was just one bang.
I'm just reminding you of the logistics. I'll give them the answer, and then you tell us how you got it so quickly.
Well, I've got the clubs and everything written
Yeah,
down
yeah,
that
yeah.
they played with each other.
Not disputing any of that.
Yeah, so what's the problem?
I'm just saying I'll need to announce to the listeners who the player is, and then you can explain your arrival at that decision.
I'd just like to say, Hugh, when you get to my age in life, you don't need to explain anything. The answer was there, written down.
And you read it before you came into the studio.
How did I read it? How can
That's
I possibly read it?
Yeah.
Don't start. Do you know what? I'm never playing a game. I'm too good.
You said that about 6 times. Doesn't stick to it, showing you're not a man of your word.
Do you know what? See, when you guys achieve something, you pat each other in the back. See, when I just stick my head up and get a wee bit of publicity with my great with my great knowledge on the quiz, you're ready to shoot me down.
Yeah, I'm sure
Shoot
it'll
me
be
down.
all over the Sunday papers in the morning.
Yeah, Twitter is blowing up as we speak.
More changes for Rangers. What a reception these two will get just in the door and making an impact. Diomande and Cortez off. And it was last January's signing, Nicholas Raskin and Scott Wright coming on.
You forget about him, don't you?
Raskin. That was a long time ago that he was a favourite. Him and Cantwell, and they were the two that the team was going to be built around. And quickly there's been, the mainstays. Lundstrom has overtook him again. The way he's playing, you look at Sterling playing a number of positions now, so he's forgotten, man.
Since the manager's come in, Mark, I've watched Rangers, and the one player that really has got the benefit is Lundstrom.
Yeah.
I think he's been top class. He's really upped his game, probably because of competition there of places. Obviously,
his contract's up, you mean?
Probably.
Yeah.
You always, yeah.
Run about February to May.
There are a couple of extra yards in the legs.
Get the checkbook out. Anyway,
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
St Mirren 3, St Johnstone 0, and it's Kwon with the goal. I'm not sure that makes Celtic fans feel any better about their recruitment. It'll be back at some point, you would imagine. St Mirren 3, St Johnstone 0. That's turning out to be a very good afternoon for the Paisley version and a dreadful one for the Perth version.
Exactly. So St Johnstone, it would appear, and Fraser will fill us in completely at time up, but it would appear that St Johnstone have had a horrible day when the manager's got his head in his hands because they're so deplorable.
Maybe not. So he robbed Matt Smith, ran forward, step over, left footed finish, really good goal, but the rest gone to the screen for that challenge on Smith. So that would suggest, goal disallowed. Take it all back. Sorry, Kwon. The wait goes on. St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0. Just delete everything you said.
Well, but it's still a bad day for Craig Levein because there's no way back for them at 2, far less 3. So they're in a place now where they have to be very careful because they're slipping into the playoff place, because Livy will go down and St Johnstone could be in the playoffs.
Yeah, Livy might have something to say about that today. Stirling Albion 3, Edinburgh City 0. Paul McLean with the goal. Listen, I know it's a congested market out there. I know you've got Gladiators. What's your favourite? The 1% Club.
1%.
You
That's
like
it.
that, don't you? Masked Singer, that finished last week. Did it
Boy,
finish? No.
Yeah.
Finished.
From McFly won it.
So if you're in any doubt,
I got him as well. That's how good I am just now, these quizzes. Saturday I'm in fire.
You know what the big TV event of the evening is?
I know.
Queen of the South against Montrose.
Is that
the Palmerston Peps on telly? The
is
late
that
kick-off.
Well, I don't know which one to go for. Ant Deck or watching Marvin. Let me think.
Are they home or away?
Home.
Who cares?
That could be a good
You're
game.
not going to be watching. Are you going to be watching that this
I'll
afternoon?
support my fellow colleague.
You don't even know his name.
Yeah, Big Martin.
Is it on the BBC? Is it? You'll still watch that in the Fire Stick.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Please do not make such false allegations on this show.
Your subscription of Queen of the South TV.
Yeah.
QOS as you want to call them.
TV.
Yeah, it costs me £5 a month.
They are at home to Montrose. Listen, I'll let you away right now if you want to drive down to Dumfries for the second half.
No, I watch
you
it
can be
on
my
TV.
guest.
I watch it on TV.
Oh dear. Anyway,
how's the big man's mood been recently?
He didn't come in this week because Edinburgh City's goalie scored against them last Saturday, didn't he? In the 96th minute, I got a message riddled with expletives about the fact that his team had conceded to a goalkeeper, And
well, if he loses a televised game, he'll be inconsolable. We'll never see him again.
I know.
I think there's content in there. Send me and Daz along to one of these games
You
with
could, like,
a
heckle him.
camera,
Heckle
and
him.
just get in the dressing room. Surely should be more transparent. I'd do wonders for Queen of the South.
I'd love to see you two just stand behind the dugout and heckle him.
No.
Full 90.
Just keep shouting, Marvin, Marvin, Marvin.
Martin.
We'll do that.
What do you want for your tracksuit?
Send the guy that grannied him on Beat the Pundit. Although he did recover. He got a 10, didn't he, in the week that you all
We've all
got
done
10s
that.
though.
We've all done that, haven't we?
You done it yet, Gordon? You got a 10
No,
yet?
no,
Beat the
no,
Pundit?
no, I've not achieved that. I got 8 or
He
9.
got the 100th win though.
Yes, the 100th
Just
win.
Mark Wilson, Hugh Keevins, Kenny Miller and Marvin Bartley recently have done it.
It does dilate it a bit when you add those names in. Yours,
What,
Hugh,
yours?
yeah? Hold on a minute.
You got one of the worst win percentages out there.
I also get a 0 this year, so
Yeah, that's
I like to go one extreme to the other.
Eamon Brophy, no hat-trick for him. Sims has replaced Brophy. That one is in the balance. Can Livy pull something back to get themselves level? Still advantage Ross County at the moment.
David Martindale's post-match press conferences are ones to keep your eye on nowadays as well, because you just wonder how emotional he's going to be after games, even when they won. Was that last week against Thistle or the week before?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hibs 1, Dundee 1. We are level. We thought Hibs had taken a 2-goal lead, remember, but one of the standout players of the season, certainly from a Dundee perspective, Luke McCowan, 20 yards out, left-footed, great shot, very little chance for David Marshall in the goal, and we're level. Game on.
That will go down like a lead balloon at Easter Road.
It's come out of nothing as well, Hugh, and sometimes those are the hardest ones to take, aren't they?
Too many draws on Nick Montgomery's CV. The fans not taking to the style of play, and Edinburgh Derby coming up. And although Hearts have been embarrassed by Rangers today, they appear to have the measure of Hibs. And Lawrence Shanklin settled at Easter Road the last time. If he does the same in the next Edinburgh Derby, Nick Montgomery's under pressure.
Most impressive thing I think about Dundee this season, there are goals in them, and it's not always the case with a team that comes up. So they've now gone above Hearts in goals scored this year. That goes to show you how good Tony Dock's signing's been at the top end of the pitch, and he's obviously added 1 or 2 at the back, and Beck's a stand out to that. But McCown been there for a while, good player. And for Hibs, well, it's the same old story again. They're just too easy to play against. Soft mentality, consistently losing goals when there's nothing in games. Nick Montgomery has to sort that out quickly, or he won't be there long.
Would be a frustration, that one, Gordon, though. It's not like they've let Dundee back in a balance of play sense. They're doing fine and thought they'd gone 2-0 up, and they've been stung.
Yeah, certainly have. But I agree with the lads about Dundee. I think Tony Dock's recruited very well. There's some good players. He's well organised. They're always a threat. It'll be a big closing minutes at Easter Road, because Hibs have got to start winning games.
Lawrence Shanklin subbed off, jeered as he's been subbed off. Don't know why, but there we go. He's been subbed off there, clearly.
Billy Gilmore's been sent off.
Oh, that's not good news. Billy Gilmore sent off for Brighton. He's been a mainstay in that team, been playing really well recently, but he'll have to serve a suspension by the looks of it.
1-0 down as well to a hopeless Everton team.
Serious foul play, doesn't really strike you as he's not shy in the tackle, I suppose, but can't have been too many of them. Dundee United look like they'll get 3 important points at the top of the championship. Glenn Middleton in 81 minutes, and there's a substitution that the Rangers fans will be happy to see, but they'll just be hoping he comes through it unscathed. How many times Kemar Roof on and then you don't see him again for a couple of months? But he's replaced Cyril Dessers, and you never know. Maybe this is the time that Kemar Roof strings a bit of fitness together, just when Rangers are looking for reinforcements to try and win a title.
Well, he could be a key player in the run into the title, and obviously the competition Rangers are in, because a fit Roof can certainly get you goals.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Maybe Hibs do have a bit about them. They are back in front. It's 2-1 to Nick Montgomery's side. It was a great solo goal from Mayalida. Danced into the box. He sent the shot past Trevor Carson, and that's more like it from Nick Montgomery's perspective. Hibs 2, Dundee 1.
He needs that, Nick Montgomery, but never rule out Dundee.
We're back on for the 2-2.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Here it comes. That's an odd start to be carrying me.
Right, here's a challenge for you. We've only got 2 people on the podium for the Who Am I. There is another spot available. Give us the question, Hugh.
I have played alongside Chris Martin and Neil Lennon. I've been managed by Alex Neil and Darren Ferguson. Throughout my career, I won promotion 5 times, including 2 Premier League promotions. Who am I?
Right, Gordon, you're right. You're getting no praise from your adoring public either. Craig,
No, I'm getting
Craig
slaughtered.
sent a message to say he suspects there's cheating going on.
Could
I
you
like
tell
when the public's
Could you tell Craig the truth of the fact that you have tried everything?
Anybody else haven't
that
got
is
him?
true. To be fair, we have tried everything.
You've not caught me yet.
No.
Oh, many have said that.
No, but did you see that? It's not that he didn't do it. It's just that we've not caught
Not caught him yet. How many years have heard that?
Oh, you've not caught me yet.
Not caught me yet.
Bear thinks he's got it. Bear wants to go Gary Hooper.
Don't bother.
No.
Has he ever signed for anybody? Hooper?
What do you mean?
Oh, you're joking after the fives.
Oh, he was brilliant in the Masters.
Yeah, but have a look. So are you. Nobody's
he
signing
wasn't.
you.
Well, I got a few offers after that.
Actually, you did.
Barnett, apparently.
Barnett?
No, yeah, I think so.
He could have easily have played up here for a club, but
I
he just
played at
didn't want to
Barnet.
relocate.
I played at Barnet. Good
Aye.
wee ground, yeah. I enjoyed it.
Good surface.
Great
He
surface.
says that, doesn't he?
Great surface.
there. When did you last play? In 1984?
No, it was.
Good surface,
I was probably
Good
86.
surface.
Good surface.
There was no good surfaces in your day.
Yeah, there were.
Where was the best surface you played on then?
In Scotland, I would probably say Dens Park was brilliant. Yeah.
Dens Park did not
You should see
expect you to say that.
The lush grass was incredible.
Dens has never been good.
Yes, it
ever.
was. In my time, it was.
After the early 2000s through when I retired.
Capello was on excellent surface.
Right, those
Bowling
are
Green.
2 grounds I never expected you to say.
There you go. I played in a lot of lush grass.
Dear me. Right, keep the guesses coming because there's still a spot remaining on that podium. I think someone maybe has just sneaked in with it, but see if you can get it right as well. What else have we got boiling away here? Anything in terms of late drama? Not really. Was hoping we'd get some tension. Can Livy give it a good go and try and rescue a point in the closing stages?
You've got to think that they take something from Firhill, you know, that battling spirit, but I don't know. In the league it's different.
You've got to hope for the 2-2, haven't we? At Easter Road.
At Easter Road. I think there's a 2-2 in there, yeah.
2-2 number 8.
Is that what it would be?
Somebody needs to look into that. If this ends 2-2.
I was just about to ask you how many. Because in my head I thought, I bet you it's actually not that many, but you just, they stick in the head.
7 so far, yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So yeah, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock,
The authorities onto that.
Motherwell, St Mirren again, Ross County, Hearts, Kilmarnock in the opening
Crazy.
opening game. Wow.
And it just highlights what Hibs have got. They've got guys in the team good at the top end of the pitch who'll score you goals, but so weak in defence.
Hold on a minute, this was your philosophy for the Partick Thistle 18s earlier. Just
I
score.
was, but I'm
Just
trying
score
to
and
develop players. I'm
don't
not
worry
trying
about
to keep my
conceding
job.
at the other end.
Yeah.
Who will be the first caller after 5 to say Hearts always lie down to Rangers?
I don't know. I have no idea. The phone lines are full of surprises generally. We're not far away from taking your calls, by the way, so get your calls into us.
But the Rangers goals have been fantastic. They are 5-0 up and it could have been more. So there was no lying down. They just couldn't get up in the first place.
Could have been much more. That's the thing. Not just more.
Listen to this.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Livingston. And it's Bruce Anderson again, and they're level 2-0 down, back to 2-2. Could we see the 3 points actually heading to David Martindale's side? I'm sure they would have settled for 1 when they found themselves 2-0 down, but what a comeback that's been.
Well, all credit to them. The Partick Thistle result in the Cup was sensational. They were apparently dead and buried, but This is a recovery of a
VAR
half.
check though.
Oh,
no,
Davey.
baby.
Oh, we Davey. Oh, I would love to see him if this gets ruled out.
He'll be fiddling with a monitor just now. He'll have the tool belt on, taking the
Pull the
screws at the
plug.
back.
Oh, dearie me. Bruce Anderson had been set up by Tete Yenge, driven in, provided the finish. We need to wait and see what VAR makes of it. Good save, Jack Butland, to deny Tagawa. So Hearts trying to at least do something in an attacking sense. I know lots of their fans had left, but Butland has been extremely reliable since he arrived.
All goalkeepers want a clean sheet. They don't want the 5-0 means nothing to Jack Butland. He wants a clean sheet. The nothing part is important to him. So he's kept his own half of the bargain.
Yeah, Man United have equalised in the last minute at home to Fulham. Harry Maguire with the goal. I was half expecting it to be a Scott McTominay one because he tends to bail them out, but Harry Maguire on 89 minutes. Cove 2, Annan 1. Maybe a late winner there by Josh Kerr. Still any news from that Livingston goal? Greg Stewart, KVV and Balagizi on for Kilmarnock. Watkins, Armstrong and Polworth off.
Keep saying it, but good bench Kelly have got. You know,
definitely.
turn to this stage in the game and you just want to stretch your game, and somebody there to hold it up and carry a threat, and you bring on Van Veen and Greg Stewart. Goal given, Livy. What a comeback. Can they go and add another?
Well, you wouldn't bet against them. They show remarkable courage. So that's all of a sudden 4 points from the last 2 games. Beat St Mirren. Look likely to get a draw. Ross County.
Got to be disappointed if you're done, Cowie.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? 2-0 up, an important game at home. You could put a bit of daylight between you and Livingston, take a bit of pressure off, and you're probably now struggling to get a point.
Yeah, you're blowing it big time. But
not going to get much grief, is he, though? Up off the fans up there. It's a quiet old crowd.
Well, Derek Adams got grief, did he not?
You've really got it in for the quiet, sleepy population of Dingwall. If this afternoon
Nice
shows anything to go
environment
by.
be in. Nice. Nah, I like that. I like the quietness. You know, you can.
Did they not give stick? No.
Nah, not really. Did
Good game, chaps. Good game.
Airdrie have pulled one back. Is it the old too little too late from Callum Fordyce? 88 minutes gone in that one. Brown for Laturi. I don't know if that's Ross County trying to make sure that Livy don't score again, or if they can find a winner there. That could be a huge day at the bottom. You look at St Johnstone losing as well. St Mirren are going to gain some ground. Hibs and Dundee's been a fascinating one. 2-1 to Hibs. Are we on for the old 2-2?
A lot of goals.
Sensational.
Around the games this afternoon.
I called it at the start. I looked at that fixture list. Just listened back to the podcast on Monday, and I said that the lads round about the grounds today would get plenty of excitement and plenty of goals, and obviously I'm correct again.
You're on fire. Do you listen to the podcast, do you?
Well, every Monday, just to go over one or two.
It will be available tonight. You don't have to wait till Monday.
No, I like a Monday.
There you go, Saturday night.
No,
in the bath.
Monday night. I just sit back after my dinner and I get through everything in the show.
Just in between watching Marvin Bartley against Montrose on the telly, you can get the podcast fired up. And
I've got one season ticket holder grandson sitting in the Amex Stadium watching Brighton 1-0 down. I've got another grandson, Banky's season ticket holder, watching them lose to Largs. I'll never go back into Nardini's. Never.
Is that at home? That's at home, isn't it?
Yeah,
at the home. Yeah.
That's a bit of a buzz. When I was driving into Super Scoreboard HQ this afternoon, could see the fans gathering.
Yes.
I waved the manager off today. Seen him
right,
getting picked up. Yeah. All the rest.
There we go. That could be a big one. Falkirk fans will be celebrating it as much. Alloa 2 up at the Accies. So it really is Falkirk's title soon, you would imagine.
Chatting to John Rankin midweek, and he was saying
you
how
love
disappointed.
John, you just love John because he takes one Coca-Cola a year. You just love John Rankin.
Well, no, in the car sharing days, I was the opposite. I was always trying to get him to eat junk and
go on, just
have an iron brew. See what that does to you.
Could be a big goal at the bottom of the Championship because Inverness have equalised against Arbroath in the 94th minute. Arbroath thought they'd won it. Cameron Harper with the goal. And there's your result of the day, certainly from the lower leagues. Stenhousemuir 1. Top of the table, Stenhousemuir 1, bottom of the table by a mile. Clyde 6. Great result there. 7 minutes added in Dingwall. Will we get a winner?
Yes.
No.
Settling.
I think the two of them are settling for a point.
We will find out. 7 minutes, 6 added between the Paisley Saints and the Perth Saints, but I think that one's done, isn't it? We don't need to have much.
Well, they could add 6 hours. It would make no difference to St Johnstone.
Drama there. 4 added. We're coming down the way for David Friel between Kilmarnock and Aberdeen again. Think that one's done. Quite looking forward to hearing from Neil Warnock, because as the guys have said, at some point going to need to get some,
and that's the problem,
wins on the board. That said, in isolation today, that's a tough place to go, isn't it? Maybe the harsh reality is he was right. Maybe Kilmarnock are now favourites for that fixture, particularly at Rugby Park.
Well, Derek McInnes has done an outstanding job there, and people will talk up Rangers visit there.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it looks like we do have a winner in Dingwall for
Ross County.
Oh, go on, Don.
An inspired substitution as well. It's Sims who's not long on the pitch. He's got the goal, and after being 2-0 up, pegged back to 2-2, it looks like Ross County have won it 3-2 in the last couple of minutes. Scenes in the jail end, says Dave Galloway, as Josh Sims hits the winner.
Handcuffs.
5 people applauding. That's scenes up there.
You've been really unfair.
I do love it. I do love it.
Television footage of Davy Martindale at this point.
Oh, he'll be.
I was just going to say moments ago, for the purpose of this show and other shows, what would be the most valued? Davy Martindale's post-match when he wins, or if he had to lose? I think when he loses, it will be.
That's a singer.
Entertaining.
That's a long journey home, innit? You're sitting in that bus, that is a long journey.
Especially if you're Davy and you're driving it.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
I wonder if he's got to stop at Avonmouth.
Get the chippies in, Davy.
Right, I need to pull out. I've got 15 minutes on the clock here.
One of his players will go up to him and say, "You buying his chippies?"
Sort of matched each other at the top of the championship. A win for Dundee United against Queen's Park and a win for Wraith at Ayr. So none of them blinking there in the title race.
Back-to-back
won.
wins.
Inverness won. Gordon Dalziel Derby won by Wraith Rovers. Oh, there you are, Hugh. They might be down to 10 men, but the Seagulls have equalised in the 95th minute against Everton through Lewis Dunk.
You know it makes sense.
Is that what they say about him?
No.
Alright.
He's a good player, Dunk. He's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good player. Slam, I call him Slam.
Will he be in the Euros with England?
No.
He's been round about the fringes, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. 97th minute. Man United 1, Fulham 2. Alex Iwobi.
If he's the Man United manager next season, then I am Elvis Presley.
See, particularly just to make this all about me for a minute.
Yeah.
Having stood here on a Saturday for 7 years or whatever it is, I feel like that's just perfectly coincided with Man United being rubbish. I just feel like the number of Saturdays I've stood here and watched them lose or draw at home to random mid-table teams. It feels like it's every week. I mean, it won't be, but that's like the impression I have of it.
Jim Ratcliffe comes in, spends what is it, £1 billion to get 25% of Man United, take over the playing side of the operation. Talks about knocking Liverpool and Man City off their perch, the old Fergie quote. And you've got a manager like Eric Ten Hag? I don't think so.
But in a week we've spoke about finances and how rich Celtic are. Manchester United have spent the most on players in the last year, over £1 billion or something like that. And it goes to show you that their recruitment at the top level is all over the place.
I know you'll be heartbroken being a big rugby fan, but
I'm going to watch that today.
Well, it's on right now. England have scored the first try at Murrayfield,
Scotland. Oh,
sweet chariot at Murrayfield.
7-0 down early on. Our Gregor Townsend side. Full time, Kilmarnock, David Friel.
Full time, Gordon Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 0. Cheers in the home end, jeers in the away end. Kilmarnock stay fourth. They're dreaming of Europe. but Aberdeen's top 6 hopes are really fading. Derek McInnes's men were outstanding, really good value for 3 points against a very poor Aberdeen side. And it turned out Neil Warnock was right when he said they were underdogs coming out in this fixture. They were miles behind Kelly, they were second best all over the pitch. Warnock was animating the touchline, he got booked, but he hasn't got the response from this team that the Pittodrie board expected. Kelly scored in each half, Corey and Dabba get the opener, then Matty Kennedy got the clincher in the second half. Aberdeen huffed and pumped but never really had a standout chance. Neil Warnock is still to win a league game since arriving. Kelly the best of the first half, he hit the post through Kyle Vassell early on. Stuart Finlay also the header cleared off the line before Ndaba put them ahead in first half injury time. Danny Armstrong's delivery was perfect, the defender powered in a header from close range. Warnock was booked after that and probably had some choice words with his team at the break, but it didn't work. Kelly kept pressing for a second and it arrived in 58 minutes. Kyle Vassell burst into the box and showed great composure to square the ball to Matty Kennedy when he could have taken the shot himself. The Kelly winger worked under Warnock at Cardiff City. He came back to haunt his old boss with a brilliant low finish. It was all about game management for Kelly after that, and they were really comfortable. Kelly are flying ahead of Rangers' visit in midweek, but Aberdeen and Neil Warnock are really struggling. Full time, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 0.
Full time at Ibrox. Here's Gabriel.
Full time, Rangers 5, Hearts 0. A 5-star performance to take the Gers 5 points clear at the top of the league. A double from Cyril Dessers and strikes from 3 January signings made the difference today. And it all started after just 90 seconds. Mohamed Diamande, a great finish with his left foot from outside the box, and that set the tone. An already excited atmosphere became electric. We shall not be moved belted around Ibrox. They were playing with purpose. They stunned the visitors. Hearts looked to have settled into the game after about half an hour, but Oscar Cortez's goal took the sting out of it. Another from the edge of the box. Cortez took it on the run, lovely curled, right-footed finish inside that far post. Then just before the interval, John Suter put a brilliant ball into the box that found Dessers after missing a couple of chances. The striker finally nestled a neat volley into the back of the net. Dessers got his second just after the break. The ball popped out to him in the box after it had been bouncing around. A real mess for Hearts, and he just smashed it into the roof of the net. And the fifth and final came from Fabio Silva off the substitutes bench with 65 minutes gone, slipped through by John Lundstrom, a first time left-footed strike across the goal, and that was that. Their joint biggest win of the season, Gordon, and arguably their best display of the campaign. To come against a Hearts side who have won 8 in a row is huge. What a statement of intent from Philippe Clement's side. They're still going strong in all competitions. They are in the driving seat in the title race right now. 5 points clear of Celtic, who will feel they have to win at Motherwell tomorrow. And these supporters believe, Gordon, they're clapping the players off the pitch. They've been singing "We're going to win the league" all afternoon. A massive afternoon at Ibrox indeed. Full time, Rangers 5, Hearts 0.
Well, Rangers fans, what did you make of that? How big a statement was that? 5 points clear, 5 goals to the good. 01419511025. Give us a call right now. It's finished at Easter Road. Roger Hannah.
And it's finished at Burnley 2, Dundee 1. Gordon, a first league victory for Nick Montgomery since December the 9th. They're within 2 points of the top 6 now. Dylan Vente is back on the goal trail with his first strike of 2024, and there was a great winner in the last 10 minutes from Mizzy and Merlida after Dundee had briefly drawn level. Dundee thought they might have had a chance to take the lead inside 3 minutes. A VAR check for a penalty for a handball inside the box, but referee John Beaton waved play on. Hibs huffed and puffed a lot in the first half, but he did take the lead in fortuitous circumstances after 35 minutes. A routine corner in from the right. Trevor Carson had it all day. He somehow managed to drop the ball. He then juggled it a couple of times. He was running after it in the penalty box, and he managed to wipe out Emiliano Marcondes as he tried to get control of the ball. A stonewall spot kick awarded by referee Beaton. An up-stepped Vente, a staggered run, and he sent keeper Carson the wrong way. His first goal this year, and only his second since September. That really got Hibs onto the front foot. Carson needed to make saves from Vente and Merlida before half-time, with Marcondes having a shot deflected just inches wide. Montgomery's men started in the front foot again in the second half. Martin Boyle testing Carson early on, and then Boyle thought he had teed up Vente for a second in 56 minutes. Ball in from the right, a tap in for the Dutch striker, but after John Beaton had awarded the goal, it was ruled out by VAR for offside. Tony Docherty sent on all 5 substitutes for for Dundee before the halfway mark in the second half. That outlined his dissatisfaction with the way the game was going. One of those substitutes, Curtis Main, had the ball in the net, but it was a flag up for offside. There was a VAR check for a penalty in the same incident, but again, play waved on. And then Dundee got an equaliser out of the blue in 78 minutes. Luke McCown, arguably their best player of the season, working the ball onto his left foot 20 yards from goal and firing a low angle drive that David Marshall just couldn't reach as he went in low down to the keeper's left. Dundee thought they'd gone ahead moments later, Main firing inches wide, but it was Hibernian who took the lead in 81 minutes. A great solo goal by Maida. He ran down the inside left channel, he cut into the box, he turned inside Dundee skipper Joe Shaughnessy and fired past Carson. This was a day Hibernian honoured the memory of Ron Gordon. A year after his passing, there's no better tribute than this. They're closing in the top 6. Hibs 2, Dundee 1.
Important day in the capital. What else? We've got full-time whistles pretty much everywhere. Paisley, Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, I finished St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0. Gone before I get to the game. Distressing scenes at the moment. Inside the penalty box to my right, Adama Sibiri has gone down after the final whistle. The players are kind of milling around. The physios and the doctors had gone up the tunnel. They've been called back on. He is moving. You can see his legs moving there. But Sibiri took a head knock with about 20 minutes to go and came back on. He was actually involved even in the final minutes with a flick that Zach Hemming pushed away. So fingers crossed that the lad is okay. And it's really kind of killed the whole atmosphere around here, because this is a really comfortable win for St Mirren, because completely dominant and could have won by more. And Meetoff own goal, man-drawn volley in the second half. St Johnstone way off it. First shot on target came in the 86 minutes. St Mirren completely dominated the first half without creating too many chances. Boyd Munns, a couple of efforts comfortably saved by Meetoff before the keeper unfortunately had to be credited with an own goal. Man-drawn 25-yard shot, took a strange deflection. It spun awkwardly, hit the post and then hit the diving goalkeeper and into the back of the net. Keeper really unlucky. St Johnstone didn't even have a shot or an effort on goal in the first half. Unfortunately only to be one down, but the pattern of play continued in the second half. Meetoff made a great double save from Mandron and Fraser headers to keep it at 1. Kilty then tried his luck from the edge of the box, a yard wide. Jimison right foot shot flashed across goal and just wide, but St Mirren did get that second goal and then cruised to a win, but the goal came in 64 minutes. St John's defence failed to clear a low Tanzer cross. The ball just bobbed up nicely from Mandron with a right foot ball. He got his body over the ball really well and drilled it past Meetoff from 12 yards. 72 minutes, Quan thought he'd scored his first goal for St Mirren. He robbed Matt Smith in midfield, drove into the box, lovely step over, low finish with his left foot, but his celebrations were cut short. The VAR referee Andrew Dallas sent Gardner Irvine to the screen and the goal was disallowed. St John's also grabbed a consolation goal in 86 minutes. It was Sabidi that got that first shot on goal. Good shot, pushed away by Hemming, and then the rebound side footed wide by Matt Smith from the edge of the box. But I have to say, the distressing scenes at the side of the pitch and the doctors on board, I just hope that young Adama Sabidi is okay, because everything else pales into insignificance just now as St Mirren head towards the top 6. But St Johnstone really poor and now probably looking at Ross County below them. But if I have any more news on the lad, then I'll certainly let you know.
Yeah,
full time here, St Johnstone 2, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0.
Sorry, a bit of a worrying end to that one. Hopefully a speedy recovery. We wish everyone well involved. We'll keep an eye on that and tell you if there's anything else that you need to know, any updates to bring you. A significant day in the Highlands, Dave Galloway.
Yeah, absolutely. A cracking contest. Ross County 3, Livingston 2 is how it finished. Gordon, the hosts, took a 21st minute lead. Mo Sangari slipped up and Eamon Brophy strode forward to tuck the ball in. 5 minutes later and it was 2-0 and it was Brophy again with a superb strike. Simon Murray picked him out and he showed really nice composure, allowing the ball to bounce before hammering home into the top corner from a tight angle. However, Mo Sangari nearly cut the deficit with a long range effort that George Wickens kept out with a fine fingertip save. Just 2 minutes into the second half, sub Bruce Anderson pulled a goal back, slamming in after Michael Nottingham's layoff following a free kick. Play swinging from end to end, Eamon Brophy close to his hat-trick with a cross that came off the bar. Then a very good double save from George Wickens. What a match he's had today from Tete Yengi's shot, and then Jason Holt on the follow-up. Holt let fly after that from outside the box. The ball swerved, but Wickens beat it away once again. And then at the other end, Jordan White's long-range drive was turned round the post by Shamal George. But after 86 minutes, it was 2-2. Sean Kelly found Tete Yengi, and he set up Bruce Anderson, who scored into the bottom corner. However, 2 minutes into added time, Josh Sims showed neat footwork to fire low into the net to put the Staggies back in front. However, there was still time just for Teti Yengi to curl one narrowly wide of target for the visitors in a real grandstand finish. Both teams, it has to be said, left absolutely everything out on the pitch. A really absorbing encounter, entertaining stuff. It's been quite an afternoon here as County go 6 points clear at the foot of the Premiership. Ross County 3, Livingston 2.
County 6 points away, as Dave says, but at the top, Rangers 5 points clear. The goal difference has had a huge shot in the arm as well. 10 wins in a row for Rangers. How do you look back on that? 0141 951 1025. Give us a call right now, Rangers fans. How good was that? Was that the performance of the season domestically? Was it a statement result? How confident are you feeling now? And you Celtic fans, what are you thinking ahead of tomorrow? Because a response is going to be an absolute must at Fir Park. So what are you thinking? 0141 951 1025. Call us right now and we'll try and get you on next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Looking to sell your Volvo? Contact them today for a no obligation quotation.
New baby next door. I remember that feeling. I've just the thing. Fry Tesco finest shiitake mushrooms till beautifully brown. Add them to soften leeks and shallots. Simmer with wine, then add fluffy dumplings. Fancy some stew?
Tesco finest shiitake mushrooms, hand-picked for a rich flavour. And now only £1.25 with your Tesco Club card or app. Food Love Stories, brought to you by Tesco. Regular price £1.75, majority of larger stores, ends 3rd of March. Club card or app required.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no obligation quotation.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Well, what a day of football in the Premiership and beyond. A big win for Rangers at home to Hearts, 5-0 in the end. 5 points clear, 10 wins in a row. What do you make of that, Rangers fans? And by association, Celtic fans in the title race. How are you feeling ahead of Motherwell tomorrow? 0141 951 1025. Good win for you, St Mirren fans. You can give us your thoughts on that. A bit of an update. I know there was that concerning situation, Sidibe taken away on a stretcher. He was sitting up last time we checked there, so hopefully everything okay. We'll keep you up to speed on the updates coming out of Paisley. Huge win for Ross County down the bottom against Livy. Aberdeen fans, Neil Warnock can't get the response he was looking for. Kilmarnock winning in that one, and Hibs with the important victory against Dundee as well. 0141 951 1025. I forgot to give the answer to the teaser very quickly. Hugh, what was the question?
I have played alongside Chris Martin and Neil Lennon, been managed by Alec Neil and Darren Ferguson. Throughout my career I won promotion 5 times, including 2 Premier League promotions. I am Russell Martin.
Well done if you got it right. Michael Donati in... No, sorry, Starbar Andrew in third, Michael Donati in second, and Greg's Gardens the winner. Well done to you. Let's get stuck in on these phones though, because it's very busy, as you might expect. Richard's a Rangers fan. How does being a Rangers fan feel tonight, Richard?
Good afternoon, pan. I hope you're all well.
Good, thank you.
What's my feeling? I'm ecstatic. I called 2 Fridays ago and I told you to put your feet up and enjoy the title race. 2 good teams going at it. Rangers have proved that again today. A fantastic performance. And I will also go back to a point I made probably a number of months ago about Cyril Dessers. And I said that Pep Guardiola couldn't get a tune out of him. He is now the best striker in Scotland. His movement, his grit, he sticks in, he gets goals, and Rangers have taken 3 points today in an impressive performance and gone 5 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premier League.
So does that mean you got it wrong, or Philippe Clement's better than Pep Guardiola? Which one?
A bit of both. We'll go for a bit of both there, because I mean, you look at Desser's movement. He's constantly looking for the ball. He's constantly given an option. Some of his luck is going the other way, but he gets going. He sticks in. He gets the goals. And as I've said, Rangers have scored 5 fantastic goals today.
Gordon, we said that the numbers are getting very hard to argue with. In fact, you couldn't really 16 goals for the season, adding 2 in the league, of course, today.
Oh, he's been absolutely terrific, and especially today, Gordon, because there was pressure on him. Silva's been brought in there. He's chopped and changed the team. Clement, it's all about scoring goals. I said that in the programme. He's starting to play as a number 9, a Rangers number 9 in the box. I know he's missed a few chances. As a striker, you're delighted with that, because you're going off the park. You're probably happy with your 2 goals, but a little bit unhappy, thinking could have had 3 or 4 today. Maybe next week that'll come. But I think it's taking a while to settle in. I disagree with Richard in the sense, now I know where he's coming from, because he's on a high, the way Rangers are going about their business. I don't think he's the best striker in Scotland just now. I think he's improved unbelievably. He's scoring goals, he's playing with a lot more confidence, and as I say, I can't give him a bigger compliment. He's now starting to look like a Rangers number 9 for me.
I think Rangers have momentum. They have depth of choice. They can rotate to the manager's heart's content, and they are scoring very good goals. They are ahead of a faltering Celtic, who have brought in players who are not up to the task, and therefore Rangers will win the title.
How much of a statement did that feel like today, Richard? Hearts have been in good form, of course, third in the league, and it was extremely comfortable.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? There was a lot of talk about Hearts being a really tough task for Rangers and what would actually come of the game, but Rangers have brushed them aside with ease. They go into another couple of tough fixtures ahead of us, but you're looking at the performance from the players there. My pal Gary for work basically said that he would take Dessers in the Celtic team right now, and that would actually give Celtic a chance at that. Dessers has turned round the form, something it's incredible.
Yeah, Mark, you look at the finish today is a really composed one. The movement, even small margins now going his way, whether by design or sometimes when you just get that bit of good fortune. We used to get Rangers fans complaining he's offside all the time. Well, today it was really tight, but it was timed well. A really composed finish certainly for one of them, and just seems like everything's shifting.
Yeah, well, when you look at his collection of goals over the season, I think within those goals there's been some really good ones. I said a couple of weeks ago he needed to score probably a significant goal that when it didn't look like Rangers were going to win a game, he pops up and gets the winner. I thought up until this stage it's been at St Mirren, where he popped up in a difficult day for Rangers and he gets the winner, and it was a composed finish in that one. He's goal at Easter Road, again you look at that, taken very well, but he's always in there causing problems for the central defenders. He's always in the right positions, and I don't know if he's changed much of his game since the summer. But what has changed is the amount of chances that are being put his way. And like we said earlier on, he's going to miss them. He will miss them. But if he's scoring 1 and 2 a game, then you'll take it all day long. You look at his stats, 16, he'll beat 20 for the season in all competitions. I'm pretty sure of that. And if you've got a front man like that and the spread of goals throughout your team, you look at the goal scorers today, then look at your goal difference, 61-4. And now they are, how many? 8 ahead of Celtic goal difference already.
Very quickly that's turned around. What did today do for your league winning confidence, Richard?
It's I think I was 70-30 the last time we spoke a couple of Fridays ago. I would say that I'm probably 95% certain the Rangers will cruise to a treble now, never mind win the league.
That's quite an upturn. That's quite an upturn in the last couple of weeks, but you can understand why that would be a confidence boosting performance. What about the January business as well, Richard? Because you look at Diamande and Cortez both scoring today.
It's the proofs in the pudding. What he's brought in is turned things around. I don't know what the future holds in terms of Clement's transfer business, but what he's done here gives me confidence that whoever comes through the doors at Rangers will prove to be a good addition. And long may this continue. 56 is on its way.
Yeah, I think that's an important part for a new manager coming in. One, he's got to tune out the players that were there. They just look a different squad, and he's using it as a squad. He's rotating all the time. And secondly, the minute the transfer window opens, their fans look to say, right, what qualities you got to bring into the building. He's brought 2 in and they've hit the ground running, getting goals as well. They look complete players for me. They're big additions to the squad. Rangers are in a good place just now.
Yeah.
They certainly are. They're in a good place. You look at the fans, are happy with the style of football. Defensively, they're absolutely brilliant. They're scoring goals, and we've said that people were coming on saying, look, we're going to give somebody a doing, and today it was Hearts.
You get a happy club versus an unhappy club.
Well, we will get to Celtic when we preview the Motherwell game. Let's try and deal with today in isolation.
But to discuss a 2-horse race,
no, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. We will. But let's because there's a few other points about recruitment. Fabio Silva also coming on and scoring.
Yeah, everything he touches turns to gold. Philippe Clement. They were highly impressive today. Hearts 8 wins in the bounds, and we all spoke about it as being a demanding occasion. It was none of the sort. It was a canter, and 5 lets Hearts off lightly. It should have been 6, 7 or 8.
Well, what do you think? Richard's gone 95-5, I think, in favour of Rangers winning the title. Rangers fans, how big a statement did that feel like today? What pleased you about it? What did you notice about the game? And as we said, we'll preview tomorrow as well. So Celtic fans, where does this leave you going in to tomorrow? 0141 951 1025. We'll speak to you next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Your future, full of possibilities, like travelling the world or welcoming a new member to the family. Unlock your potential with an investment portfolio managed by Nutmeg, built with your financial goals in mind, with access to free financial guidance whenever you need it. Make the most of your ISA allowance by the 5th of April before it resets. Invest in your future today. Search Nutmeg ISA. Capital at risk. Tax treatment depends on your individual circumstances and may be subject to change.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Quite the day of football. Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel want you to help them look back on it all, and that's what Billy and Milton's going to do. How's it going, Billy?
Fantastic. I mean, just on my way home for the game, and it was tremendous. I don't know if you remember, I actually called in a few months ago when everybody, like the previous caller, was getting desperate at tight, and I said, look, there's a player there, he's actually said when he was up against Celtic, when we beat 1-0, he won every ball in the air, he held up everything, he would just nobody running at him or making movements. I said he would come good. You were going to check whether he won every ball in the air or no. I don't know whether he did or didn't, but the pace he showed today...
He didn't win every ball that day. I checked it for you.
Right, well, the pace, obviously, with the club that he's came for, to Scottish football, it's kind of slow build-up, playing out for the back. You come to Scotland, it's 100 mile an hour. It's taken him a wee while, but the pace he showed today was tremendous. The goals he scored, you can't argue with it. His figures are fantastic.
Yep. Again, that is literally it. You can't argue with the figures. What's the point? The return, Gordon, the stats in all competitions in the league, it all sort of stacks up. But I don't know, it's not like Billy doesn't have to convince us. Like any of these big issues, most of the negativity surrounding Cyril Dessers has come from the Rangers fans. That's the way it works here. It always feeds in from the people who who watch him the most. I do wonder how many doubters he's got left in the Rangers fans.
He won't have many left now. A couple of months ago I said he was a mixed bag for me. One week I seen him and I thought, right, okay, this is him kicking off his Rangers career. Next week he was poor, and then the following week, and it was a sort of mixed bag. But now it's all about confidence, and as I said, I couldn't give him a bigger compliment that I think that he now looks like a Rangers number 9. He looks like that guy. Yes, he'll miss a couple of chances, but good strikers do that because you're in the right position to go and create the chances as well. And he's banging goals in, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. Billy's right, he's maybe grasping the speed of the Scottish game. We all questioned Rangers in the January window, thinking, will they bring in another centre forward? Because Danila was out, Roof obviously, Dessers wasn't scoring the amount of goals that you would think would go on and, you know, take them to the next level. But he certainly turned that around now.
We've now got two queues forming here. One queue is forming to say, I was wrong, I apologise, I said he would never be a Rangers striker, and now he is. And in the other queue, you hear people saying, I told you all along. But it all adds up to, both queues add up to a team with arguably no player doing badly.
You were there, Billy, did that feel like a fan base that, you know, senses the league title is well within reach?
In all honesty, yes, 1,000,000%. And just, another thing, the business that we done in January, Gordon was saying we signed 2 players. We actually, we got 3 in.
Yep.
The 3 of them scored the day. That business is actually a better bit of business than the Brinks-Map bullion robbery.
Well, we'll leave that alone because illegality was involved in that one. But it does explode the theory that you can't do good business in January. It exposes that theory as a pile of nonsense, and I have to say the Rangers fans are loving it because it's in the Celtic statement that you can't do good business in January. So they've got 3 strikers or 3 goal scorers today who were all signed in January, so it makes a mockery of Peter Lawwell and his statement.
Diamande in particular, Mark, it's the second week in a row scoring at all is a good thing. The quality of the goals clearly showing that he's got something in that department as well.
Oh, without doubt, a midfielder that can do that from outside the box over the course of a season. You're probably talking close to double figures if he's given the full season. So it's a good start for him, and that's all it is at the minute. But when you've just signed him a couple of weeks ago and he comes straight into the team, first of all, it shows that he's been good enough in training to merit a starting place with Philippe Clement. But then to take that on and score goals, you rightly compared it to Rio Hatate, and look at the feeling about Hatate when he came in. And he just took to it like a duck to water. Looked easy for him. Diamande's looking that way in these recent weeks. It's about consistency though, and do that time and time again. And we'll see if that's the case.
I think I was in a press conference just after Oscar Cortez signed Gordon, and Philippe Clement said, particularly him, it might be a while before you see the best of him, because he went into quite a lot of detail. He's worked with Colombians before, he mentioned, and he just felt like it could take a while. If there's still a lot more to come from him, then I think the Rangers fans would be pretty excited about that.
100%. The minute I seen him, you just know that there's a player there, Gordon. How he's going to adapt to the game. Obviously the pressure of playing with Rangers as well, but he's adapted very well. His goal today was excellent. I apologise to Billy, it was 3 signings. Silva, he got on a goal today as well. He's been a big impact player as well. But Cortez, for me, if he's getting better, then I think the Rangers fans are going to be excited watching this lad.
Yeah, I've got to say, I went back to last week, seen him for 15 minutes. I thought, yeah, there's something with this boy. But seeing his finish today as well, how composed that was, how cleanly he struck it, how he contributed to the game. He looks a real find for a wide player. And over the last couple of years, Rangers struggled with wide players, held on to Kent for so long that they eventually just ended up getting nothing out of him. The same trick time and time again. This guy looks a wee bit different. But am I right in saying, Gordon, he has on loan, Cortez, till the end of the season?
Yeah, with
an option to buy. Yeah. So if he continues playing like the way he is, I don't think there's any doubt they'll sign him.
Those who have come in are making Rangers better. Those who are already there, Philippe Clement has made better. Right now, from goalkeeper throughout the outfield, They're all on fire.
Speaking of which, I mean, it's good to see no one's getting carried away, because Robert Beaton says Yilmaz must be worth 60 million by now. Best player in the park by a mile. Think of how many goals Dessers could score if he was a good striker. I suppose there's a tongue-in-cheek element there.
You still have Barisic in, though.
No, I'm warming.
Oh, is he converted
I'm
now?
warming.
Okay.
I like Barisic. I think he's got a great delivery, but Yilmaz is holding up.
Yilmaz doesn't want your recommendation. He's heard what you said about Bernabeu.
Yeah, exactly. Would have bitten your hand off for a 1-0 before the game. Massive game on Wednesday, says Rab. But let's thank Billy for his time and bring in Tam on the line. How are you, Tam?
Brilliant, to be honest.
I thought you might be.
Just heading home from the game.
What was it like then? What did you take away from it?
Every player played to a man, so they did. From defence, midfield, even Jack Bond pulled off some good saves as well. Dessels looks like he's coming into a game. He's missing a lot of sittles, but he looks like he's going to come into the game as well as time goes by. But my message is to Dale, who said back in October the league would be done by Christmas. A manager came in, made it make an impact in that. So I just want to know what he said about that.
I said that the league would be over by Christmas.
Yes.
I don't think no, I don't think I did. I think Tam.
It was me it was on, and you said it.
No, I don't think you're right there,
Do you know what
Tom.
really disappoints me? Because I'd love nothing more than to
prove me
kick you
wrong.
under the desk, but
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
just, that's
not.
not your style, unfortunately.
It's not my
Hugh
style.
maybe would have. It's not Gordon's style. Maybe he said something like, if this keeps going like this, the league would be over.
Like
I don't know.
I've never said that. I've never said that at all.
Think he's lying, Tam?
Even the producer said that he remembers it as well.
Ross can't remember yesterday. Never mind back in October. Tam, I think you've just come on. Look, be happy. I'm bumming your team up. They've been absolutely brilliant. You must be a happy man, and you've come on and had a real dig at me. What's that all about, Tam?
I'm just saying what.
No,
you
come
said
on,
back in
Tam.
October.
Tam, I've got to go home tonight and sit in the house.
Tam, what were the Rangers fans saying about your title chances back in October?
Say that again, sorry?
What were the Rangers fans saying about their title chances back in October?
Well,
my guess would be a lot worse stuff than DL.
Of course. Oh, of course. I'm not going to dispute that. But we said that if a coach, if someone came in, they didn't make a big impact on that team.
Well,
Tam, I remember you coming on here in the summer and saying Michael Beale was the best manager Rangers ever appointed. Remember that, Tam? Because the producer told me. Do you remember it?
No.
Yeah, I think you're wrong, Tam.
Tam, what about today specifically? How important do you think it was? How impressive? How much of a statement?
Well, we're now 5 points clear now, so I think we're going to go on and win the league. 56 is coming home.
Do you know, Hugh, not that it matters really, it's just a mild observation that I was just looking through some of the stats. Rangers won 5-0. I think by everybody's assessment it could have been way more.
Yeah,
It's so one-sided, and did it with 53% possession.
Yeah.
Nearly an even split. That just shows how efficient they were, you know, with every time you get it, kind of make something happen. Quite often you would associate a 5-0 home win with like a 70%, 75% possession, but it seems like there's a real kind of, like I say, efficiency about it.
There is something very special brewing exclusively because of Philippe Clement. I cannot imagine who would beat Rangers between now and the end of the season in terms of domestic football. They won't win the European trophy because there are too many clubs bigger than them who stand in their way, but they'll go beyond Benfica, I think. However, in a domestic context, I don't think anyone could lay a glove on them just now, and that's why we're all long-term football players, football managers, football reporters, and I don't think that anyone could make a case for anybody other than Rangers winning the league now.
Like I said, Gordon, I don't think you would get hung up on possession stats either way, but it's just a, like I say, maybe just a small indication of how it's about efficiency. We've said Rangers do get the ball quickly. It's not about, control for control's sake, just trying to make something happen quite quickly. I suppose that's what you would take from that, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a good style of play, and I think the Rangers fans are enjoying watching Rangers at this moment in time, because I think Hugh touched on it earlier. It's not just the starting 11, everybody's making an impact. You look at that Rangers team, no matter if he makes 4 or 5 changes, and you can't pick out a failure just now. They're absolutely flying. And you look at, for instance, bench today, and we were talking about it, Raskin was a big player for Rangers not that long ago. He's getting used off the bench because of the form of the midfield players. So just now everything's going very well for Rangers. Long way to go, but you must be a happy person if you're supporting Rangers just now.
Peter sent me a list, Mark, on Twitter of the goal spread with Tavernier and Dessers at the top, right? So that's the top 2 scorers. See the next 3, Sima, Cantwell, Danilo, all out injured. Matondo, in fact, next. The next 4 are all out injured as well. So it's just been that constant, whoever's had to come in since Philippe Clement came in, whoever's had to come to the team,
carried the mantle. I mean, how healthy is that for a squad? That's exactly what you want your squad to look at. You want your top strikers up there near the top, but then when you look at under it, you want everybody contributing throughout the team, and a long list of goal scorers, including new signings. That leads to one place.
I think if I want everything, then I wanted to have less shots on target in the second half against. But you know also that you make a lot of changes, and the other team has nothing to lose. They throw everything in front, and then you can get in these situations. And maybe Jack was happy that he could show also his quality in this game. So no, I'm really pleased. But I see what I see in the trainings. So it's not that these things are falling out of the sky. The team is growing. We've been talking about that a lot last weeks and months.
Robbie is a Rangers fan from Airdrie. What did you take away from it, Robbie?
Oh, that's probably the game of the season for me against Hearts. I was expecting this to be up against the wall, the Lawrence Shankland and the rest of the squad against Hearts, because they've been 6 games unbeaten. They've been absolutely fantastic, but today we absolutely blew them away. And I was like, I was off my seat for most of the game. I couldn't believe it.
You sound out of breath from the excitement, Robbie.
Oh, I certainly am. Certainly when you look at like Cyril Dessers, who's been he's been kind of written off for the Rangers support. I think sometimes with Cyril Dessers, if he just puts the ball at his feet and just doesn't think about it too much, he'll score so many goals, important goals. It's like with sometimes when it's the build-up plays too much for him.
Robbie is characteristic of the entire Rangers support. He is literally breathless with excitement because the team have made him so. Now, the Rangers supporters have watched Celtic win 11 of the last 12 titles. They have waited a long time to feel the way that Robbie does, and that feeling, like the team and the team's momentum, is growing. And that's why I say I can't think of anyone who could lay a glove on Rangers for the remainder of this season domestically.
Is that a fair analysis of the goals that Dessers is at his best when it is a bit instinctive? That one he's on, he kind of sneaks in, it's a first time finish. The ones that he'll still tend to come in for criticism from are the ones when he's bearing down on goal, basically. The one at St Johnstone last week, we can go over all the old ones, but is Robbie onto something? Those sort of instinctive finishes are maybe a strong part of his.
From a striker's point of view, just watching it, his first goal today is brilliant. I've got to say, he knows what he's doing. He's composed in the box. He just peels off a defender, and it's a great finish. It gives the goalkeeper no chance. I wish Rangers fans would stop coming on here and talk about Dessers about missing chances. I think that's the biggest positive about, because if you're keep saying it, if you're a striker, you're scoring goals and you're missing chances, you're in form. There's no doubt you're in form. You would rather have that than come off the pitch and go, do you know what, never get a sniff at goal today. Dessers is on fire.
Sorry, Gordon, thoughts on the title after that one, Robbie?
Oh, listen, I'll tell you what, we're on fire at the moment, and it's just going downhill at Celtic Park with Brendan Rodgers, to be honest with you. They've got a fantastic squad at Celtic Park, but just Brendan Rodgers just doesn't get a tune out of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we'll certainly see what happens tomorrow. Mark, something that we floated earlier about when it's a team like Hearts and it's one of our better sides and they're on a good run, we did say, is there two ways of looking at that? in theory, on paper, it should be a more difficult game. People have been saying that. Well, they're the informed team in the country, therefore it's more difficult. But we did wonder, is there something stylistically about when these teams come and when everybody's looking at maybe they can do this and maybe they can do that? Do we sometimes forget the golf? Do you sometimes forget that actually the more of the ball Hearts have, the better for Rangers, because they are then going to be able to pick them off?
Well, I look that way. It certainly helps when you get a goal within 90 seconds, because that just relaxes the Rangers team even further. But of course the focus is on Shankland. He's on fire. What can he do against Rangers? You're right, you're looking at Dessers, who is not that far behind him in the scoring charts, but not playing particularly well. You look at the new signings who are top players or look top players, and you look at guys like Lundstrom, who of course would just walk into the Hearts team, you've got to say. So Rangers, the golf is there, and if they had to play at their maximum, and Hearts, of course, there's only one winner. That's the way it ended up today.
Do you know what I mean? Though sometimes the frustration of the difficulty in home games for Rangers or Celtic is that a team will come in and sit back and make life really difficult for you. So as good as Hearts are relative to the other teams, when they don't do that, it's actually, I can't say easier because it doesn't make sense, but it's more suitable to play against.
I think you're right. I think it is easier, because if Hearts just put everybody behind the ball and just try and, you know, frustrate Rangers, it does become a boring game. Hearts went there in fine form, right? Hearts went there with a lot of confidence, i.e. that's why they were positive, that's why they tried to get on the front foot. But Rangers were just up for a game. Rangers today were excellent, and it could have been a lot more.
Plenty more reaction to today's football. What are you thinking out there on the usual number? And what about tomorrow? Where does this leave you now, Celtic fans? How important is Fir Park? 01419511025.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Into the final part tonight. Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel, Hugh Keevins all here. We're on Twitter as well as the phones. Ben Simpson says, huge result for Rangers today, seriously stamping their authority, but still plenty of time in the season to go. Grant R in Melbourne, 4:31am, woke up, checked the score and woke the missus by accident, now watching the highlights on the sofa. News travels fast to the other side of the world. It wasn't all about today. We've got tomorrow as well to see how Celtic respond. What does Peter, who's a Celtic fan from Irvine, think? Hi Peter.
Hi mate. Firstly I'd just like to congratulate Philippe Clement and his team's recent form. However, all this the league's done and Rangers will win the league, coming for Hugh. Like, Celtic have beat Rangers twice this year, and I know recent form would suggest they might know any more. However, by the time these Old Firm games come round, they'll have Vitati back, they'll have Vickers back. So don't write off the champions just yet. That's all I'm saying. I'd just like to hear what you think about it.
Well, first of all, you can't live on those two defeats of Rangers, because Celtic negated the good of those two defeats by losing to Kilmarnock and Hearts, and that's been Celtic's problem. Since the football resumed after the break. Draw at Pittodrie, got out of jail at Easter Road with a penalty and time added on. Draw with Kilmarnock last weekend.
Totally agree with you, Hugh. Totally agree with you. Recent form's been woeful. However, I wouldn't blame Brendan straight away either.
I didn't blame Brendan. I never mentioned Brendan.
No, I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying myself. I wouldn't blame. A lot of people these days are blaming Brendan, aren't they? So just want to say myself, I'm not blaming Brendan.
The fault,
he's been mugged off with the board once again.
Well, the fault, Peter, is purely and simply terrible dealings in two transfer windows. 12 players brought in, and they have not strengthened the depth in choice available to Brendan Rodgers. They have made things worse, and that's the real problem. They don't have enough players of sufficient quality to win the league, Peter, and that's why you can come back. Perfectly happy to take you on if Celtic do win the league, but from this distance, there's only one league winner for me, and it's Rangers.
This came up during the week, Mark. We're so conditioned to talking about the importance of the head-to-heads. They might still turn out to be, but maybe we need to open our eyes to the possibility that this season they actually don't matter in terms of playing a significant part in the outcome of the title race. Is Peter's right? Of course, Celtic have won both. Incidentally, Carter Vickers and Hatate haven't played a minute of those games, so they've managed it without them in the previous games. And then, as Hugh rightly says, and Rangers are still top.
Well, I think that's what people forget about the start of the season, and I never do, because I've been in the dressing room and I know how difficult the league season is. It's very unusual for Celtic and Rangers to go through as invincibles and not drop any points anywhere. Very unusual. So it's always going to happen, and of course it's who minimises that. Probably the timing of when you do it. And granted, I'll agree with you on this one, after the winter break is certainly not the time to do it when you look over the city and your rivals are winning convincingly. So they're always going to drop points. Now, the games against each other, we all stand in here and we try and predict them on the day, and they're incredibly difficult to predict, and they go either way. And Celtic have won 2. There's every chance Rangers could win the remaining 2, but it's in between where all the hard work's done, you know. And I even count the home games. And people think easy to play at Celtic Park, easy to play at Ibrox, you should win every week, and so you should. But football just doesn't always get into who has the most expensive players and who's paid the biggest transfer. It's about what happens on the day on the pitch. So there's still a lot of mileage. I'm not sure Rangers will go through winning every game either from now until the end of the season, and I certainly don't think Celtic will. So it'll be interesting to see where points are dropped.
You still think Celtic come back and win this league, Peter, to sum up?
I certainly do. I do. Obviously, it seems a bit foolish on recent form, but you keep the faith. Rangers have got to go to Rugby Park on Wednesday, and hopefully they get a killie pie in their chops. You know what I mean? So
I take it a response is a must for Park tomorrow, though.
Oh, of course, aye, definitely. I mean, Celtic are a windy animal now, and let's see what the windy animal do tomorrow.
Yeah, it would be disrespectful to Kilmarnock to completely rule out a killie pie in the chops or the equivalent.
But all of this, you know, wounded animal stuff. When Rangers went to the top of the league, Celtic's next game was Kilmarnock at Celtic Park. Now, if you're not top of the league when you start that game, then presumably you are that wounded animal.
No, they played first, didn't they?
No, the Rangers played midweek and went.
They were behind them.
They were behind. Behind. Yeah, they didn't go ahead until the Sunday.
But
I take the point. Celtic have had chances to respond to adversity previously and haven't. Is kind of what you were getting at.
I cannot see. But I mean, they've had injury problems, but Rangers' injury problems, as you pointed out earlier, are even worse. So they're just not a team with sufficient quality, ability, call it what you will, to win the league.
I get that. But at the same time, Gordon, to come at it from a Motherwell perspective, whether this is the same as Wounded Animal or not, once you start thinking, oh, Celtic are in crisis and oh, they're there to be got at, those are the ones that come back to come back to bite you.
You need a bit of luck. You need Celtic to be, you know, off form like the last couple of weeks they have been. They were a wee sort of a mixed bag with them. Good in the first half, poor in the second half. Poor in the first half, good in the second half. They need to put all that together. Look, I agree with Peter. I don't think you can write off Celtic yet. Now, where Hugh's right, Rangers momentum, squad, manager, everything's going perfect for them. They've given the Hearts, an informed Hearts, an absolute doon today. But Celtic, if they respond tomorrow, I'm with Mark here, there's still a lot of football and a lot of pressure to get to the end of the season.
Another thing that's maybe underpinned a lot of this negativity surrounding Celtic, Mark, is all of a sudden in certain areas there's not real depth. They're not like loads of changes. You know, you can expect that same midfield three, unless the one in recent weeks has been Bernardo's made way to allow Kyogo and Ida to play. How would you expect Celtic to go about it tomorrow? Is it time to do something a bit more drastic, or is there just no scope to?
I don't think there's much scope to go drastic. I don't think Brendan Rodgers would go that what's a better rogue, I was going to say, just go off plan. You know, he's never going to be like that. He's never going to take away. He was in the newspapers today saying that he hasn't changed an awful lot. There's no different instructions really. I think what's glaring just now at Celtic is players are underperforming, and a lot of them at the one time. I really think they are. So you can say what you want about the transfer window, about lack of signings. You can say what you want about Brendan Rodgers' tactics, or it's him that's telling them to play slow. You cannot deny that there's not many standouts in a Celtic jersey this year.
Is this the life of a manager though, where you almost have to carry the can? Because some fans would say, and I'll never know the truth, you'll never know the truth, but hold on a minute, what are the chances that Kyogo and Matt O'Reilly and Callum McGregor and Alistair Johnson and Greg Taylor have all gone off the boil at the same time? That's when people say, well, it must be something the manager's doing. And I'm not saying they're right, but you can understand that logic.
Of course you can. And at the same time I would think, well, it's the same coaching team that's in place from under Postecoglou. So does one manager, one man really make a difference to those players' forms? Remember, we're not talking about tactics or playing them out of position or playing them different places. But I get your point, nevertheless. So it's up to a manager to galvanise them some way. If he's telling them nothing's different on the pitch, is it something different? Is it an arm round him? Is it being more distant like Postecoglou was? Being less friendly? Ruling me an iron fist? I don't know, but he has to find a solution.
Back over every performance since the football resumed after the winter break. Booed off the park, Ross County, first time out. Drawn at Pittodrie. Got out of jail at Easter Road. I thought that the Scottish Cup win against St Mirren was slightly exaggerated insofar as I thought St Mirren were in the tie all the time. Then you get the Kilmarnock result, another draw at home. They haven't had a proper performance since football came back after the winter break.
If you're looking for good news, Gordon, I know you're a big fan. 22-13 to Scotland in the Calcutta Cup.
Yes, go on the Scots.
You'll be absolutely buzzing about that.
That'll
make your
Scots marching in. I've never heard them say that.
As is often the case when there's a big shift or a big development in Glasgow or in the title race, it's going to dominate. But don't want to overlook the fact today, Gordon, a really good win for St Mirren. You're looking at in Kilmarnock, if we sort of seal those two together, having kind of similar seasons, looking at top six, looking at Europe.
Kilmarnock have been excellent, I've got to say. Derek McInnes has built a terrific squad down there, got them playing to the way he wants them, getting results, very hard to beat on the road as well. I know that was their Achilles heel last season, but he's obviously fixed that with the quality he's brought in. St Mirren, good bounce back from that Livingston game. They probably should have had something against Livingston, but they're taking on a St Johnstone team that are in real trouble. I agree with you. I think they've got to really start worrying now, but good victories for them. And obviously Rangers today, excellent.
They're only 2 points ahead.
Just quickly, because I need to shift it to the negative side before we go. Aberdeen, Livingston, tough afternoon for the likes. St Johnstone.
Aberdeen need a manager, and they need to get a very good appointment, because Neil Warnock is holding the fort in a very peculiar fashion, and it's embarrassing for Aberdeen. But in a city where the outcome of the title race is all that matters to everyone, it has been a significant day for Celtic and Rangers, because Celtic go 5 points behind, and in North Lanarkshire tomorrow they have to come up with the goods or else.
Well, whatever happens in Motherwell tomorrow, we look back on it all on Monday night. It's already been quite the weekend. The positives would certainly be from a Rangers perspective. St Mirren, Kilmarnock. On the flip side, Aberdeen, Livingston, St Johnstone, all struggling. Hibs with a good win as well, of course. What can Motherwell and Celtic serve up tomorrow? We'll watch with interest and reconvene Monday night 6 o'clock with you for company. We will go through it all. GBX is up next. Thanks for listening.
I wear a few different hats as a CFO. You know, sometimes it's referred to as Chief Fixing Officer. Wherever there's a fire in the business, I'm often there first.
Whatever hat CFOs like Imran need to wear, Sage's tools and insights can make sure they fit. Sage, helping business flow.